Welcome, welcome to a special rock and roll edition overtime every time with yours truly, Rainbow Dragon. It is, not that morning yet. It is 11:55, and I'm gonna begin as always with gratitude. Grateful, thankful that my rent's paid, electricity bills paid, got food and coffee. Grateful, thankful that my rent's paid, electricity bills paid, got food and coffee. Ooh, it is June 1st. Oh, gotta go dig that bank account, gotta pay the rent today. It is June 1st already, so hey, on a fitness journey, yours truly, independent Aspie. Got that Asperger, so I'm gonna repeat things twice, twice or three times, even more times, yours truly. If I begin, I commence speaking on topics of interest, because we Aspies got obsessions, and my main obsessions is an Asperger's. And once again, as always, Asperger's is not a mental illness. It is a neurodivergent mental psychic condition. It is a mental divergent neuro condition. It is a neurological mental divergent condition, but it is not a mental illness. So once again, for the third time, overtime, every time with the dragon, Asperger's, it is not a mental illness. It is a neurodivergent mental and psychic condition which makes us Aspies predisposed to weird behavior, to obsessive interests, but those interests of which we are obsessed about, we can go on and 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 on for hours. And my obsessions are geopolitics, the study of geopolitics, geopolitical analysis, fitness, sports. Dancing is my favorite sport, and I've been on the yes, dancing is my favorite sport. Dancing is my favorite sport, and I've been on a fitness journey for many years now, ever since I got in depression when I crossed Canada coast to coast. That event almost 7 years ago in August is gonna be 7 years. So 6 years and 6 months, 6 years and 6 months. But this August is gonna be 7 years since I got out of depression and being suicidal, and I got out of being depressed and suicidal, and I started working out, training and exercising, and I continued my journey. I moved here to a better place, If I would have probably stayed where I used to live, probably I would have said I would have probably died. If I would have stayed there, it was moldy. I was depressed, chronically ill, and suicidal. Who knows why? Because I got retrograde amnesia, so I have kind of like a blackout. After like 8, 9 years, I remember that it's kind of blurry, and I kind of like blackouts. Who knows what kind of lifestyle I live? Today I live a very physically fit lifestyle, very artistic, very creative lifestyle, and I'm openly rainbow for many years now. But I did have a lot of trouble, because Aspies, we have a lot of trouble keeping friends. We have a lot of trouble with that, because there's still a lot of misunderstanding about what Asperger's is, and we have weird gestures and rituals. For example, one ritual of Aspie ritual is I might hold the cup in the right hand, put it in the left, put it in the right, and then drink. So there's that awkwardness, and people think like there's a mental illness or something in that, but it's just Asperger's. It's just that our brains are wired differently and makes us predisposed to intensities in our interests, such as sports. When I work out, train, exercise, and march more than the generals of NATO combined during COVID. Yeah, fitness 24/7. And of course, I did march more than the generals of NATO. Go NATO, go NATO. Firefighters, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, we love you, firefighters. North Americans unite is the rock and roll call. Love you, firefighters. Love you, butchers. Love you, bakers. Love you, nurses. Love you, truckers on the road, and those changing the aqueducts now. And of course, yours truly right here, artist, people's artist, athlete, activist, and universal revolutionary centers. We're gonna go for dream interpretation, because I got a mystic side, and always got to encourage one and all to work out, train, exercise. Working out, training, and exercising has been his and shall continue to be my medicine and therapy of choice. Medicine and therapy of choice, because there's no medication for Asperger's. You live with Asperger's, and it can be very intense. And Asperger's is a very tough situation. It's a tough condition for those who are non-Aspies or don't have Asperger's. It's a tough condition to understand fully. But once people know what it is, and now during the past years since I've accepted, I got Asperger's 100%, 110%, 100%, 100%. So, it's I let people know, and if they don't know, I tell them that I might get too close to certain individuals. I might get too close. Is we Aspies have that problem, if I would say a problem, that we tend to break personal space, we tend to repeat things, and we tend to discuss and keep on talking, and sometimes we talk over the other person, but it's not out of disrespect. It's just because that's Asperger's. And we some people tend to get offended because But now I let people know because I know I got Asperger's, but I'm great at what I do, dancing, and of course geopolitics, geopolitical analysis, dancing, and I'm a great artist, athlete, philosopher, and independent geopolitical analyst and theorist who is at the moment just financially stressed, fight my own battles first. In a boxing ring, continuing Dragan versus Trump and Dragan versus Fury, Dragan versus Usyk, and then in the line whoever else. Because I want to give somebody, my anonymous friend, give my anonymous 50-50, half all the proceedings which I'm going to do when boxing Donald Trump or Fury or Usyk in a boxing match. You know, I've been on a fitness journey for 7 years, you know, been depressed and suicidal. I'm still financially struggling, but I got kisses by the trillions from the goddess, Goddess, I say G-O-D-D-S says goddess in my spirituality. I am a mystic. I believe in, I'm a non-sectarian telemite, non-sectarian telemite. And grateful, thankful. Thank you, firefighters. LOV to our firefighters on the road. Make that LOVE, firefighters on the road. Butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, baking. And got to thank for this donation. It's like thought it was a bread at first, but I tasted it and it kind of has a sweetness to it and it's very like, so I took it from the donation here, you know, so gotta appreciate the donation, and gotta appreciate whatever donation is, and we gotta get for that donation, and we gotta get for that XYZ, and we gotta get it for whatever the case we got for the donations, and we gotta keep on exercising and loving. It's LOV 24/7, LOV 24/7, LOV 24/7. Got the kisses by the trillions, credit from the goddess. Anybody wants kisses, kisses I got, hugs, and with consent and hygiene, hug like you never hugged before. Gotta salute the youth, and gotta thank, as always, before I commence, get that drill. Gotta thank the public workers, who pick up the garbage. Salute, pick up the garbage every week. Garbage, compost, and recycling. And you know, in 2018, I worked on the compost, so I got somewhere the CVs. I worked on the compost, because I've been living here for at least more than 7 years. It's way better than where I used to live in Côte-des-Neiges, about 13.3, 13.4 kilometers from here, north and kind of west. It was very moldy. I was sick, and just like my memory kind of is like blackouts, you know, blackouts of memory, you know. It's kind of strange. I don't know what kind of trauma or lifestyle I live, but I'm probably sure that if I would have stayed there, I would have probably been dead. If I would have stayed there, I would have probably been dead. But here it is, June 1st, 2024, and got some financial stress, but I am great at what I do. And you know, Asperger's, with Aspie, being an Aspie myself, it's another problem we encounter Aspies, is that keeping employment is difficult, because I guess some people just gossip and they don't know how to approach, and they don't know what to make of people with Asperger's if they're not aware. But now there's more and more awareness of being an Aspie, being Asperger's, what it is, and the condition which I live with, and I have been living with for whatever how long it is, but I have it 100%, and I'm still in the process of getting myself an official diagnosis. But nonetheless, I have 93% of all the symptoms. You know, I repeat, I'm intense, I'm obsessed. When I work out, train, exercise, when I dance, dancing is my favorite sport, and I can go on and on for hours about that geopolitics. And geopolitics is my kingdom, my realm, my domain. The realm of geopolitics, I know geopolitics, and to the point that I have proof of work that I actually predicted in a general manner, not detail by detail, but in a general manner, all what's happening now, everything that's happening occurs now in the geopolitical crises and tensions, geo-regional and geopolitical, between regions and nation states, and all the alliances that have been formed lately, and the unresolved conflicts, because there's a lot of geopolitical unresolved conflicts, right? So here in North America, and myself, of course, I'm a Quebecer, North American Canadian, and I believe in past life reincarnation. You got to read that George Patton, Through a Glass Darkly. And I was born twice, actually 3 times, but twice I was born as a man, and twice as a man, and once as a woman after 1776 in the USA. Twice as a man, once as a woman, twice as a man, once as a woman in the USA, United States of America, post 1776. So both times I was served in the United States Army, in the armed forces. In 2 wars I've served in the United States Armies, in previous past lives and reincarnations. And I was even born here on this island, Hawk Island, Montreal. We're living on island. I call it Hawk Island because we got hawks. So it's, you see a few hawks in my videos that you see in the past when I go, or I sing rock and roll to the hawks, to my hawk there who looks at me like he's gonna peck my eyes. But anyways, it looks like an island. It's an island, Montreal, big metropolis island surrounded by a big river here in North America. And I am a North American Canadian Quebecer. So from a perspective and a of course, personally, myself, as I believe in reincarnations and different reincarnations and past lives and whatever have you. I always like to discuss past lives if I have recollection of memories. And most of my past lives memory have been maybe accumulated in the more than past 7 years. When I go to the mountain, and sometimes after the storm is like clear thunder, and I get like with the sun, and I get kind of flashes of past lives and reincarnations when I go to the mountain. And I was born right here on the island of Montreal several times between 1635 and 1904. And he once in a past life I met Louis Cyr. Louis Cyr, the strong man, was very strong, and I did arm wrestle him. And for 7 years, I couldn't use my my right arm was like I couldn't use it that much afterwards after I arm wrestled with Louis Cyr. So I always say a comedy say, "What made you want to arm wrestle Louis Cyr in that past life?" So I'm learning every day. So many things I do know in a parallel life. I'm a super scientist. I'm also an Aspie. I got Asperger's, but in that parallel life, my main obsession is computers, supercomputers, microchips, satellites. I build constellation together with partnership. I build constellations of satellites, and it's all science, physics, mathematics, science, physics, mathematics, science, physics, and mathematics, and supercomputers, ICBM rockets, and smartphones, and everything to do with telecommunication and fitness and satellites creation connected with the radio. Telecommunications is all I do in a parallel life as an Aspie. But here I'm a geopolitical analyst and theorist and philosopher and artist who's financially stressed, but grateful, thankful that my rent's paid. Well, it's June 1st today, so I got food and coffee. I got this donation, so I can say I'm joyous, happy, content. But I'm not perfect. Some things I'm mediocre, average, so. And sometimes when I do friends with benefits only now, I let them know what it is, and if from now on, and it's been a few years, I adopted this policy ever since I died of COVID. I can't believe it's been 4 years. February, March. Ever since I died of COVID, 4 years was like death, pestilence, and disease. Like death, pestilence, and disease. It was like death, pestilence, and disease. COVID for me, and I was really sick and ill. So I got triple vaccinated, and I always improve in hygiene, because I can always improve in my hygiene, and thank goddess. I had a friend over the years who I wish I could donate some billions, and anonymous deserves to be 7 times richer than Oprah. Taylor Swift, I'm a Swiftie, I love that Swift, Taylor Swift, Oprah, Swift, and Beyonce, but gotta love you. So anonymous. I'll be an anonymous angel investor if I ever have money. Money I don't have at the moment, but I got kisses by the trillions, rock and roll, and yes, we gotta work. I'm working every day, as a North Americans. I said North Americans unite, and we're very diverse here in Quebec. We made what I call the Great Linguistic Compromise, and which we continue to do, and I continue to do for the French language. As a Quebecer myself, who writes rock and roll, poetry, songs, and philosophy in French, Quebecer French, and Quebecer French, and I was a Quebecer born in a past life, and as a man and as a woman, and now you get that 50-50, you get that double trouble androgynous. I do consider myself androgynous, and pansexual who loves that BDSM switch. BDSM, it's a lifestyle, whatever case may be. And I have a little rainbow awkwardness there in that domain, in the psychosexual domain. But consent and hygiene is all that's important. And from now on, I do friends with benefits only. And sometimes with Aspies, it's better like straightforward directness. Sometimes I don't mean to offend, but sometimes I'm very straightforward or non-direct. Like for example, I give you an example. I had a conversation with somebody, and I said, "Can I say where are you from? Where are you from?" I said, "From here. I consider myself from here in this life and in a past life." And I don't meant to offend, but kept on asking, "No, but this and that and your background." I said, "Well, I have a whatever background. It's not that important for me, and I've been living on my own for many years, and I consider Quebecers, Canadians, North Americans my family, and whoever lived for me with here wants to be my family on the island. They're my family. That's it. That's all." And kept on asking, and then I said, "Well, I do not personally consider myself a member of a diaspora, and if you have people who do, we gotta love them and treat them the same, who live with us here. We working, myself included. I gotta work on my racism because we have it. Sometimes it's subconscious, and it's hard to admit, those subconscious, irrational forces which we do have." We do have, myself included. So if to my black brothers and sisters, I name my neighbors are black. My neighbors are black. And I have neighbors right aside who are black here in NDG, and I have Mexican neighbors. So we have those things which it's good to keep a harmonious, cordial relationship and to work. If I am to work on my racism, but I offer what I offer everybody else, first and foremost, hugs and kisses, so that we don't harm each other. And it's important violence and aggression to be channeled. to be channeled on the field. Workout, train, exercise. Workout, train, exercise. Workout, train, and exercise. Super important to work out and to train and to exercise, to channel, sublimate the aggression, to channel and sublimate the aggression. It's important to channel and sublimate the aggression, right? Because myself, I have, you have, to different degrees. But my brothers and sisters in North America now, coast to coast, we got to get that coast to coast public-private partnership, coast to coast, and to channel it in a sportsmanship, sportsman like Dragan Army motto is, of course, we channel the aggression with push-ups and hugs. We channel the aggression with push-ups and hugs. We channel the aggression with push-ups and hugs. We have natures, right? We have natures. I get lustful. I get this. I get that. I got Asperger's. I've been, you know, discriminated, lost jobs, lost most 99% of the friends I made in the past more than 7 years. Exchanged so many numbers. I made so many friends. So many. All of them like called back, texted once. Then like, who's this weirdo? I'm not gonna text back. And it's Asperger's is difficult to deal with. For those who don't know what it is, but once you know what it is, and you know the symptoms, what it Asperger's is, we are focused, intense on our topics of interest. We tend to have obsessive rituals and movements of the body. We're clumsy, but I'm not clumsy when I dance. Although maybe I'm so clumsy, that's why people laugh when I dance. And if I make people laugh, that's good. You can laugh at me. I give you permission, or just ask policies. And Aspie sometimes we're just a little bit direct. Like I said to my fellow cousin, I call him cousin, uncle, whatever, of Quebec here. We spoke a little bit, and he kept on saying that I have a Gaspésie. I heard that I have a Gaspésien accent. I said, oh, in the past life I was Gaspésien. I said, you want us to go tomorrow? And I got too close, and I noticed he took a step back, and then I realized I told him I got Asperger's, and I apologize if I got too close. It's just that it's a symptom. It's a symptom. It's a symptom of Asperger's, getting too close to people in conversation, right? So I work on my symptoms because there's no medication. So in the past years, being more aware of it, I got to work on it. And I have like gestures with the hands and stuff like that. And I dance maybe clumsy, and I dance and clumsiness, but we're super focused when we discuss. If I start discussing geopolitics, you better come in the kingdom of geopolitics, Rainbow Dragon's kingdom of the heroes, firefighters, gotta salute. Love you, firefighters. Get back safe and make that LOV. Get back safe, make that LOV. My main message of the Dragon Army, Dancing Artist Army is hygiene, workout, train, exercise, and with consent, and make that LOV. Hug like you never hugged before in your life. For me, that's the main message to my allies and armies. Pledge your allegiance, legions, for the love of for the North Americans unite. We got to get that public-private partnership, as a pro-labor and love universal revolutionary. So, salute the firefighters, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, grocery store clerks, always meditating, thinking about civilization, and of course, I presented my thesis back in 2023, which I'm going to continue to discuss, which my thesis is called, which I dictated in an oral manner, The Privilege of Civilization, The Privilege of Civilization, The Privilege of Civilization. I got to take a moment to give shout out to the workers of the past who built the dams, Hydro-Quebec, meditating since COVID. Since I died of COVID, I always meditate on all the things we have in North America from a citizen perspective, and a citizen perspective, of course, who is for North Americans. The Rock&Roll song is North Americans Unite, and who wants and wills to build the Forgotten Goddess Temple, the House of the Dragon, and the third one, the Rainbow People's Palace for my fellow LGBTQ community, and the Forgotten Goddess Temple, the Forgotten Goddess Temple. So I gotta give a shout out to the Hydro-Quebec workers now across Quebec, and our electricity, clean, zero pollution energy, and does not emit pollution. And of course, I'm a fan. I'm a big fan of Hydro-Quebec workers of the past, present, and for the workers of the future. Got to build more dams across Quebec for us to have more electricity, and we give to six or seven states in the United States from Hydro-Quebec. And I'm doing the work now because I consider this my work, and I've done many work, hundreds of videos, workout videos, training videos, artistic videos online on YouTube, and doing this live stream now with all the electricity connected to some of those dams who were probably built since 1947 till now, 1947 about more or less, 1947 till now, 1947 till now, who were built across Quebec. So much brains and muscle to build those dams, imagine, and the public workers to change to make all those aqueducts underneath, and for us to have clean water. So it takes the public and the private, I always salute the public workers and I sing rock and roll for them when they change everything, the rehabilitation for us to have clean aqueducts, and they're putting on the ground with all those big machines. It takes some brains and some muscle, civilization to build it, some brains and some muscle, and to maintain it. And it takes a little bit of old school. It takes a little bit of old school with a new school, old school with a new school, old school with a new school, and Mr. King Solomon, freedom is the new thing under the sun. Mr. King Solomon, freedom is the new thing under the sun. Mr. King Solomon, freedom is a new thing. I got it tattooed here. Don't ask me when, how. Kind of remember from my, not remember actually, but from my writings, because I kept journals, and from my writings I kind of know a little bit of XYZ of my events in my life, but kind of for 8 9 years, kind of there's a blackout, because I was very sick and ill, and I lived in a moldy place, and I got some scars, and kind of lots of scars on my body, and I kind of maybe a lot of trauma, illness, and I wrote something about a head wound that I survived, and here I am. If I always say, if I would have stayed there where I used to live, I would have probably been dead, dead, or whatever the case may be. But here I am, getting a little bit of, love, and I gotta, I wanna build. I want to buy somebody a house. First person on my list. First person on my list. So I'm challenging Donald Trump in a boxing match, Tyson Fury, and with my dancing, whatever case may be, I want to buy somebody who I know, anonymous deserves to own a house in Westmont. I want to have a house for at least minimum a $1 million house. Minimum. Yeah, that's about it for that. And now I'm gonna discuss dream interpretation. Dream interpretations. It makes part of the irrational, the goddess and the priestess. Priestess or the goddess. And yes, you know that. Also get that 50-50 androgynous. I'm a priestess as well. I am a what? You're a what? I am also a priestess or a goddess. Got a tiny feet, tiny hands, tiny everything. Got maybe a big mouth, some big ideas, but you know. Anyways, back to the dream interpretation. Dream interpretations. I was dreaming. This was so kind of irrational, but there was some clarity. So I don't know if it was the past or present, but I was in discussions with several people from Russia, Ukraine, and the area of the Eastern Bloc. Kind of was an, with some people who are kind of nostalgic, and I know my geopolitics, kind of nostalgic about socialism, communism, and I'm not a communist, I'm not a socialist, I'm a, what I call in from the 21st century, I'm a pro-labor and love universal revolutionary centrist. I'm a universal revolutionary centrist, because my centrism is tied hand in hand with my trinity of theories, which are and is CIT, citizen integration theory, DRT, debt refusion theory. The debt refusion theory is the only solution, and this comes out of me being cursed with Asperger's. The curse of Asperger's makes me predisposed to certain obsessive topics of interest, of which the study of civilization, civilizational studies, is and has been one of my main obsessions, and that is the study of civilizations, of course, which I did have for years. And when you study civilizations, you know that there's public finance. So public finance, the public finance, of course, is part of civilizational studies. And in Canada, we reached a point where we pay 46.5 billion. A billion is 1,000 million. It went during COVID protocols, during the programs which we have in 2020, 2021 fiscal year. We were paying 20.3 billion, 20.3 billion. So it more than doubled in 3 years. In 3 years, it more than doubled. It more than doubled in more than 3 years. It more than doubled. It more than 3 years. It more than doubled. It more than doubled in 3 years. So that's what we have, and that's what we have today. We have double that. We have more than double. I'm smiling because I'm in a good mood, but it's actually a crying matter, and I'm meant to take solutions. And the DRT, debt refusion theory, is the only solution. That's why I'm calling for a PPP, public-private partnership. Because when I say my dream, the dancing goddess in the Dragon Kingdom, is fundamentally a call for a public-private partnership. My call for a public-private partnership, a PPP across what I call the collective North American civilization. And my brothers and sisters, now you can argue left, right, and center. My DRT, debt refusion theory, for the creation of the Universal Exchange Unit, Universal Exchange Unit, to be created just like they did in Europe, but for North America. It could be transatlantic with NATO, NORAD, NATO. Public-private partnership integration is the only solution. There's no other solution. And paradoxically, to the curse of Asperger's, I can say that this is the only one that can save the financial, where we are with the finances. And I don't have a PhD in finance, don't have a PhD in economics. I know a little bit because it's part of the study of economics. So when I study civilizations and when I study geopolitics, finance, economics, and I'm myself $10,000, 500 in debt, but I'm gonna be able to pay my rent. Gotta check my bank, and I paid the electricity bill. I paid already. Paid the electricity bill for the month of June. Go Hydro Quebec, go. So I can continue to work, and of course I live. Since I died of COVID, I live carpe diem it every day. Carpe diem it every day. I live carpe diem it every day. But I have hope for tomorrow when I see people hugging, holding hands, and hugging and kissing when I go to the mountain, because that's my second home. Mount Royal is my second home. Mount Royal, at the heart center of the island, is my second home, and I go there to work out, train, exercise, and meditate. That, of course, is where I like to be a lot, and I spent many years going there, and atop the Belvedere around in the forest. Please, if you go there, do not pollute. We got rabbits, we got groundhogs, we got hawks, we got chipmunks. Yeah, there's chipmunks. We got chipmunks, we got flora, fauna. We're trying to preserve, and there's a lot of work. And again, I call to my uncle prime minister, with which sometimes I'm 50-50, sometimes 70-30, on issue by issue, 90-10, sometimes 10%, sometimes less, sometimes more than 50-50, whatever the case may be. But if you give me the tools, the permission, and sometimes the bureaucracy, it impedes some action, but gotta take action as an individual. Gotta cleanse myself and work on myself before I'm able to cleanse somebody else, and work to attain to be able to be worthy to fight in the cause of freedom. Very few of us are. Very few of us are. Very few of us are. Right? So I want to paint the benches. I counted in at least 44 benches, but I want to count more benches. I want to paint them some green and red, green, red, and rainbow, and black and white, and black and white, and green, rain, and rainbow. And of course I want to paint them. Hold on, somebody's at the door. Somebody's at the door. So, does she need some help, you think?
Well, she's picking up leaves.
Oh yeah? I'm gonna go ask her, but I'm doing a live stream now.
Finish that.
Finish that, eh? Best do that, eh? Okay. Okay, but if you need anything, just nod. If I'm being too loud, let me know. Anyways, the greatest person I know was at the door. The greatest person I know, the door deserves to be 7 times richer than Oprah, richer than Swift, anonymous. Swift, Oprah, 7 times, the number after six, number after six is 7 times. 7 times richer than Oprah, Beyonce, and Taylor Swift. So, anyways, back to what I was saying. Of course, is the study of geopolitics is my main obsession, and of course, if you go to the mountain, please do not pollute. That's my second home, and sometimes bureaucracy impedes, because I proposed over the years, so many things to do, because I like doing things. I like to stay active, stay fit, and working out, dancing, and doing volunteering. I've done a lot of volunteering, but unfortunately, I had many employments even during COVID. I like to work with the youth and the elderly care, and in steel. That was nice in steel, but after a few weeks, kind of got laid off, because I don't know, people gossip and they don't know what Asperger's is, so tend to get too close, tend to be obsessed and stuff like that, by interests, obsessive interest. And maybe I was discussing geopolitics, and maybe I was too direct or stuff like that. And I really don't know. I really don't know. But it's always important to give people a warning and a chance, second chances, and a warning, even second chances and third chance. I think I'm having my second chance here, because like I always say, if I would have stayed where I used to live, I would have probably been dead, or even, like, whatever, in jail, dead or in jail, whatever, dead or in jail. Who knows? I'm not gonna speculate, but I came here. I crossed Canada coast to coast, and that event turned my life around. Crossing Canada coast to coast. Went, of course, in August. I went, of course, in Vancouver, in British Columbia, Vancouver, and then we came back and we went to Halifax, and we went to Halifax, and we went to Halifax, coast to coast, and that event sparked in my head. I said, so many things to do in Quebec, in Canada, my country here, coast to coast is really all I know, the island in Canada, coast to coast, to do so many things, to keep on writing poetry, rock and roll. And I started, embarked on a fitness journey, and wrote and had jobs, had like a few jobs, at least more than seven during the past 7 years, more than seven, but some were like a month, 2 months, 3 months. I think my longest was like 3.5 months for the environment which I love, like a contract, and I kind of finished, and then I had other jobs and stuff like that. So Asperger's, I'm probably gonna donate if I ever make. Hey, Elon Musk donate to food security, Asperger's, and for building the Forgotten Goddess temple. So, anyways, if you go to the mountain, please do not pollute. Put it in the garbage because we got those public workers. Put it in the recycling bin if it goes in the recycling bin. And please, somebody, let's get organized. I wanna do paint those benches. Paint those benches. They're so like since more than 44 years. More than 44 years. They're so great. You know they deserve a little painting, and it's for all of us. It's public. I've got a lot of public works to do with the DRT. My theory to create the UE, refuse all public and private debt. We're going to be able to mass finance public construction across North America, to mass finance public reconstruction across North America. We're going to be able to mass finance public reconstruction across North America. And to my brothers and sisters who lost their freedom and being incarcerated, I started writing a few years ago a protocol and an initiative called for the North American Citizen Integrated Criminal Rehabilitation Initiative. And the North American Citizen Integrated Criminal Rehabilitation Initiative. The North American Citizen Integrated Criminal Rehabilitation Initiative, part of the ongoing series of the Dragon Army, which I'm not going to discuss now because I got to find it. It's on USB. I wrote so many essays, of course, when I did collaboration with CSIS. CSIS is the equivalent of the CIA, kind of FBI, Canadian Security Intelligence Establishment, back in 2016 in relation to some terror, pro-terrorist propaganda, which I've found pro-terrorist propaganda, which I found pro-terrorist propaganda, which I found. I have the official document here, but I have it here. So that was a few years ago. Oh, there it is. And then after that, I started writing in the North American Citizen Integration Theory. The North American Citizen Integration Theory. I started writing. It's very. It uses a lot of fancy words and a lot of philosophical exploitatives. But basically, it's the necessity to integrate the citizenry of Canada and the United States, the citizen of Canada and the United States, the citizen of. So it's dated from. Is Canadian Security Intelligence. So the Canadian Security Intelligence Service, the CSIS Canadian Security Intelligence Service. This is dated March 2016 because it was down there. I found in was something that was calling pro when we had pro with the Islamic State, with the Islamic State terror group, with the Islamic State terror group, an equivalence to that. So it was a response from the Public Correspondence Union. And ever since then, I've written several protocols and documents which, of course, were dealt with security and the need for citizen integration, security in case of an emergency, in case even of course, I've written, started writing. Of course, this was a few years thereafter in 2019 because I'm gonna go back in time again because from my best memory of 8 9 years, and ever since I moved, of course, I've always been concerned about civilizational structures and the defense and the maintenance of civilization, which is a privilege. And one of the protocols and the documents and the essays which I've written has started in parallel to just before 2019 October, when of course I had concluded back in October 2019 that humanity is again set on a course towards an international conflagration. And then I created my workout training program system to go hand in hand with that situation. And that's a workout which you can see hundreds of that workout training program system, which of course is simple, effective, and efficient. And it has rules, because Aspies, we like to follow certain routines and rules, and probably people laugh at that. It's like, what is that? But if you detect it and if you study and analyze it a bit, you see how simple it is. Not necessarily easy, but simple to try to do until you get it done. So I'm going to discuss my workout a bit now, which I created back in 2019. So in 2019, as a geopolitical analyst and theorist and independent fitness captain, still going on a fitness journey every day, I had concluded, based on an in-depth study and analysis of which the main points were that, of course, due to the recent beginning of the U.S.-China trade war, we were set again another unfinished business that other regions have, because I always parallel myself as a North American, though, from a North American perspective. From a North American perspective, you got to keep this in mind, right? Because no matter what I say and how deep and profound my analysis is, at the end of the day, I'm on Team Quebec, I'm on Team Montreal, I'm on Team Canada, I'm on Team North America. As much as I am a world citizen for world peace, I'm Team North America for the North American civilizational complex. I'm Team Canada, Team Quebec, Team Montreal. Team Dragan also in parallel to that. But at the end of the day, for in a World War III type of scenario, I am Team North America, I am Team Canada, I'm Team Quebec, I'm Team Montreal. At the end of the day, like I said, personally, I do not. And then NORAD, NATO, NORAD, NATO, NORAD, NATO in that confluence of the geopolitical military alliance, which is the major one. So nonetheless, back then in 2019, I have concluded that we again, humanity, are set on an international conflagration. So back then, I've produced a workout training program system to go hand in hand with a World War III scenario. So I've created this simple, effective, and efficient workout training system which requires no equipment. It's not necessarily easy. It could be easy for some, but less for others. But it's simple. In the simplicity of it, it's a simplicity that it requires no equipment. It requires no equipment. It requires no equipment. So I'm going to say the rules quickly. So you are allotted 93 minutes to do 100 push-ups, 100 squats, 100 hocks. You can do maximum 13, maximum repetitions, minimum 3, anywhere in between. You can, once you start the countdown, there's no stop. You got to keep on motion, keep in motion, and march or run or jog while you do the push-ups, the hocks, and the squats. And you can see hundreds of my workout video program training system, which I've created back in 2019. And you can do maximum 13 repetitions, minimum 3. So 13 and 3 they go together, 13 and 3 they go together. You can do 7, 8, 9, 10, 13 until you get to 100. So once you get it started, so my average is about an hour to do. My minimum was 44 minutes and 50 seconds. The least time, 44 minutes and 50 seconds, 44 minutes and 50 seconds. The maximum time was like 88 minutes, 88 minutes, 88 minutes. So you can do it, but maximum 93, so an hour and a half basically. It's like a movie, like the duration, an average duration for a movie, 93, 1 hour and 33 minutes, 1 hour and 33 minutes, 1 hour and 33 minutes is the equivalent of 93 minutes. So that's the total allocated time, and 44 seconds if you will, to get more precise. It's 93 minutes and 44 seconds. That's the total. Though it's a bit weird, I know, but that's the total. So once you start the countdown, if you're not able to do it, you gotta start it over the next day. If you're able and you can do 300, you're eligible to be a member of the Dragon Army. You nobody, everybody's a potential, but once you, that's the main standard. So this was done to be able to encourage citizens to get fit. So I have been since for years now, call for the mass financing via public-private partnership. Let's go NFL, National Football League, NHL, National Hockey League, NBA, National Basketball Association, MLB, to try to finance that for public-private partnership across North America. If citizens, because it requires no equipment, so if you can do it, let's say you're credited. I don't know if we're gonna create the Universal Exchange Unit by the implementation of the DRT. We're gonna be able to credit somebody, I don't know, 30 UEs, 30 US, 25 UEs, right? 25. Let's say you're able to do it within 93 minutes. You got 25 UEs. With 25 UEs, you can buy a cheeseburger, you can buy bread, you can buy something to eat for 2 days. Then you do it 3 times a week, whatever the case, maybe every day, Monday to Friday. And then you can do volunteering. You can do also volunteering, right? You can do volunteering for public workers. You can do volunteering this and that. So it's a public-private partnership. It's a public-private partnership, the Dream Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom. And I'm proud to have created that system of workout. It's simple, effective, and efficient, but it's not necessarily easy. It's going to be easier for some, less for others. Once you get into it, because once you start the 93-minute and 44-second countdown, you are not allowed to rest, to stop, because it was created to go with with an emergency, a World War III scenario, an international conflagration, where the mobilization of a certain amount of citizenry for the maintenance of the North American civilizational complex of North America's defense and continuity. And this goes in parallel to something that I started writing a few years ago, which was called the Citizen Integration Protocol Initiative Protocols for the Continuity, the Citizen North American Citizen Integration Protocols for the Continuity of North American Civilizational Complex in case of thermonuclear war. So the title of the essay was long, but it had to do with, it goes hand in hand with my work thereafter and all my work as a geopolitical analyst and theorist and independent fitness captain and philosopher over the past like 7 years. I would say over the past 7 years. So now finally we get to dream interpretation, because it's part of us, the irrational world, right? So I had this dream, and that's why it takes also the irrational and the emotional to go hand in hand together with the 2 plus 2 equals 4, mathematics and science. Yes, 2 plus 2 equals 4, but that doesn't mean we have to write it and we write it only in black or only in white. We can write it in black and white and all the colors of the rainbow. Two, we can write it in black. The plus sign, we can write it in red. The other two, we can write it in white, or vice versa, white, black, black, white, white, black, white, black. The plus sign, we can write two different colors or four different colors, because it's plus, red, white, red, green, yellow, purple. And then the equal sign, we can write it in orange. And then the equals 4, we can write it in all the colors of the rainbow plus the black and the white, that equation. And that's how I write it, to show that there's black and there's white and there's also the rainbow, right? Anyway, so that means that the emotional and the irrational world also is part of us, and sometimes we're moved. Like if we say, yes, it's possible myself that I do have certain feelings towards others, whether by how they look, how their appearance, how they're dressed, their biases sometimes, which are subconscious, right? Like my Asperger's, who knows, when I do with the hand like rituals, and when I start discussing geopolitics, or I take the cup, I put it this and that and left and then drink, or I get too close, I get almost so close to certain people, you know. No wonder I lost 99% of all the friends I made in the past 7 years, 99%. 99%. I only kept 1% of friends that I made during the past 7 years. But now I know what it is. In the past years, I've accepted it and I work on the symptoms, because there's no medication. There's no medication. There's no medication, right? There's no medicine for it. I just learned to get it on the go and to manage it and to live with it. I live with it as I live with scars, and I have scars on my body and the hand. But I'm joyous. I'm happy here. It's like I said, if I would have stayed where I used to live, I would have probably been dead or in jail. But here I am. Anyways, and I want to buy somebody first on the list, anonymous. I want to buy somebody I know, anonymous, a house, at least $1 million house. So that's why I'm want to fight in a boxing match. Donald Trump, Usyk who defeated Fury. I'm willing to fight Fury or Usyk. I'm really willing to get in the ring with Usyk or Fury ASAP. I will be ready. Give me 3 weeks. Give me 3 weeks. 3 weeks. So in 3 weeks, whatever that is. Anyways, 3 weeks I could be ready. Saint Jean here for Saint Jean Baptiste. Yeah. Anyway, Saint Jean Baptiste here. So I had a dream, but I kind of pinpoint the dream. So it was, I don't know if I was myself there, or it was the discussion with several people from Russia, Ukraine, and what used to be the Eastern Bloc, where there was socialism, communism before 1989. And kind of like some people were kind of nostalgic about that era, which some people are. Me, I only know it from education of myself and geopolitics and the study of geopolitics, but understanding it from the current crises, the biggest war, the biggest conflict in Europe since the end of the Second World War, and somebody who's obsessed, being of my Asperger's, makes me that I'm obsessed about geopolitics, and geopolitics is 24/7 geopolitics, and the analysis, the study of geopolitics, which includes, of course, civilizational studies. So the Cold War, it lasted from this 1947 to 1991. So more than 44 years, 1947 to 1991, right? So mega militarization and the building of ICBM rockets were built, and of course nuclear wars between the USSR, which dissolved in 1991, the Union of Socialist Soviet Republics, the Union of Socialist Soviet Republics, of which several countries were part of. Present Ukraine was part of USSR, with Russia the main state, right? But many other big ones. Ukraine was a big state, a part of the USSR prior to December 25th, 1991. Kazakhstan were another one. Turkmenistan. There were 15 socialist Soviet republics which comprised the USSR. And then you had a pact called Warsaw Pact, of which other aligned states were aligned with the USSR. Poland, communist, Eastern Germany, Eastern Germany was separated by the Berlin Wall in 1989, right? You had Eastern Germany, where the Stasi and the Eastern Democratic Republic Socialist, which was Socialiste Demokratie Deutschland, Deutsche Sozialistische Republik, the Sozialistische Republik von Deutschland, right? So you had the Deutschlands that was separated. So that was the Eastern Bloc. with Eastern Germany, because Germany was separated in two different nation states, of which Eastern Germany was socialist communism, right? So that was in the Eastern Bloc, and then you had other countries: Hungary, Czechoslovakia, which was one. Also, you had Yugoslavia, which now is split into Croatia, Serbia, and other different countries. You had Yugoslavia, and you had, of course, Romania was also part of the Eastern Bloc, and you had Moldova was part. Moldova is a country now, it's nation state, but that was Moldova was part of the USSR, was part of the USSR. So Moldova was part of the USSR. And now you got a small one called Transnistria. So my it was a bit irrational. So I analyzed myself this morning. I said, I do not believe that I have socialist, communist sympathies, or that I'm not nostalgic about that because I didn't live it. I did not live it. I lived here, and I know in depth the ideology because I know socialism, I know communism. I studied Karl Marx. I studied Mao Zedong a little bit. Mao Zedong, not that much. I studied some Mao Zedong in the past years because I'm studied civilization and geopolitics. So we have communism still, socialist countries still exist. Vietnam, officially Vietnam, officially, of course, the North Korea, although they have a form of socialism with blended a dynastic monarchic type of spirituality, which I'm not gonna discuss. Their Juche ideology, which I know, but I'm not gonna go into it. I'm not gonna go into it. I'm not gonna go into it because I know it because I studied it. I learned it, and then you have China, the mainland China, the People's Republic of China is still officially Marxist Leninist Maoist, Marxist Leninist Maoist of Mao Zedong, right? So you still have some countries, the Socialist People Republic of Cuba. So you still have officially at least five countries, nation states, of which the People's Republic of China is the biggest one, who still have the socialist communist ideology as their ruling nation state, and their ruling party has still the ideology, philosophy, social philosophy, and ideology based on Karl Marx or Leninism, Marxism, and Leninism. And China is, of course, also Maoist because they call them socialism with Chinese characteristics. So my dream was a little bit irrational. We kind of discussed, and it was kind of different music, almost music in this from the old times of Russia, old Soviet Union songs and music, kind of like culture from old Soviet Union, old Eastern European when they were communists. So those discussions I had kind of in the dreams were a bit irrational, but from what I analyze, and again, it's sometimes it's irrational. The dreams are irrational. We can analyze and scrutinize them. It comes from subconscious sometimes or from confidence, but it kind of like the individuals that I conversed with, they had a nostalgia that it was kind of better in socialism and communism from their perspective, and the culture was different and whatever have you, XYZ. So now I'm a universal revolutionary centrist. My centrism is tied hand in hand with my trinity of theories: the CIT citizen integration theory, the DRT debt fusion theory, and the democratic fusion theory, the DFT. So that is my perspective. My perspective. A universal revolutionary centrism, but it's also tied hand in hand with for North American civilizational context, because if you don't know, you will know now that as a philosopher I say, and I've written essays on it, that North Americans, myself included, we constitute a North American civilizational complex, an emergent one, not totally divergent, but of course not totally divergent, but not totally divorced, not totally divorced, not totally divorced, but separate, not totally divorced but distinct, not separate, not separate, not separate, but distinct. So distinction but not separation. So not a divorce but distinct. So not divorced from Western civilization, North American is, but distinct. So there's a distinction, but we're in emergence since the end of the Second World, a North American complex. And here we've been able to, with compromises, because it also requires negotiation and compromise. Sometimes it's not winner takes it all. You can be less selfish, and I'm not totally selfless. I want something better for myself. Although I appreciate, I'm grateful for having here. If I would have stayed where I used to live, I would have probably been dead or in jail. Nonetheless, I made great effort over the past years. Since more than 2 years, I've accepted I have Asperger's, and yes, I got 93% of the symptoms, and that's why I lost 99% of all my friends. I made friends with benefits from now on, only friends with benefits. From now on, just ask friends with benefits. from now on. Pledge your allegiance, allegiance to our family. Pledge your allegiance, allegiance to our family. Pledge your allegiance, allegiance to our family. And coast to coast, ocean to ocean, if we are to be free. And we made the great linguistic compromise. And with my black brothers and sisters, 13.3%, 13.3%, 13.3% of the North Americans, they're our black brothers and sisters. And if I can offer something to fight racism, rather than not, because it's possible that we have it to certain degrees, less rather be hugging, kissing, and playing some sports together, and then keeping sportsmanlike than killing each other here. We made it so far. You see what's happening in across the world now, and we continue to do so here. And I need my black brothers and sisters who live here in North America with us to get coast to coast defense, and we gonna work together for our children here to hopefully grow in a better world and to have coast to coast, coast to coast, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, coast to coast, North American civilizational complex, North American civilizational complex, North American civilizational complex. We're gonna learn our children and our youth to channel their aggression and to for adult to channel and sublimate, the aggression and the psychosexuality, the sexuality desires and urges which we have, as adults as well. Sometimes sexual liberation takes blood, sweat, and tears. Sexual liberation takes blood, sweat, and tears. Takes blood, sweat, and tears. In the NFL, it's not only Kal Nassib who's part of the LGBTQ. NFL love you, but gotta get that DGA dancing goddess army. In the NFL, it's not only Kal Nassib. That's kind of 2 years now for the first NFL. It took so many decades for the first openly gay, openly LGBTQ player to play. And there were many who came out afterwards. There were many who came, but now they're gonna start. And I love my gridiron. As a matter of fact, my defensive protocols in a sportsmanlike manner, and as much as they can be philosophical and intellectual and address minute details of the securing the individual liberty with the collective and securing the basics, food, housing, shelter, and then working on the extras. Food, housing, shelter, then working on the extras, and to bring some joy, and wellness. It's important, wellness. It takes some action, takes some sweating, takes some vein and some muscle, but nonetheless, for my brothers and sisters, of course, it's to present and to introduce now, because I'm going to do a series that of the North American civilizational complex defense is based on Canada, US, NORAD Dragan Army Initiative is based on what I call the hardball ball. The hardball ball. I'm going to put that hardball ball for my 49ers who lost to the Ravens, for my 49ers who lost to the Ravens, for my 49ers who lost in the Ravens. It's also known as the blackout ball, the blackout ball, the blackout ball. And it was the first time my Niners lost the Super Bowl, but only by 3 points, only by 3 points. The score was, if I remember, because I don't remember watching it myself, but I remember I watched it afterwards. Because there's a blackout in my memory. I remember moving here, and I remember it as moldy place, and I was sick and ill, depressed, suicidal, and I crossed Canada coast to coast. I said so many things to see, to do, and I started working out, training, exercising, and I survived COVID, and that's here I am today. With all the work, which I've done in the past more than 7 years, and right here living for today, make love, hug, and when I go to the mountain, I like to see people working out, training, exercising, holding hands, young and old and senior citizens, and I love it when I see them holding hands and hugging, and that's what brings me some joy and some hope, because otherwise, what are we fighting for? NORAD, Canada, United States, to say for if somebody not making LOV tonight or today, somebody not making LOV, kissing and hugging, what are we fighting for? Mr. Jen Stolberg, General, say that LOV to the troops a little bit, because you lose me if you speak 10 hour. As I listen to General NATO, God love for you, NATO General Jen Stolberg. Come, gonna give you a big hug, big dance for the NATO troops on the mountain. Gonna dance for our NATO troops, for our NORAD troops on the mountain. That's for sure, 100% for our firefighters, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors. But if anybody not making love in the free world, what are we putting on the uniform for? What are we putting on the uniform for if somebody not making love? Somebody not making love tonight, today. What are we fighting for the free world for? Wall Street gives some charity. Anyways, so my North American defense complex, this defense is based on, of course, the San Francisco 49ers, who got beat for the first time in the Super Bowl by the Ravens. And I'm a 49er, 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 9 Empire. We empire, not nation. We empire, not nation. We empire, not nation. But Of course, we lost. I know because I watched it this time. We lost. I gotta give a shout out for somebody who, due to who I was able to watch that Super Bowl live. I was able to watch that Super Bowl. I salute Anonymous, Anonymous, Anonymous. I guess I'm gonna say sponsor in many ways and friend, whatever, friend, and the greatest person I know deserves to. Only one that I really know capable to fight in the cause of freedom. The only one really that I know. Generals, you got to march with me on the mountain 3 hours before, because you get a little bit, you say you get a little bit of the grades off. You get a little bit of grades off. Get a little bit of the grades off. Might demote the generals to citizens. Citizen Dragon here. Limb dig, okay, clit dig, General Rainbow Dragon, clit dig, tiny, tiny hands, tiny feet. My defense protocols and initiatives for the 21st century rehabilitation and regeneration and the unity, strength, and liberty with LOV with wellness for the collective North American civilization. North Americans unite is based a lot as a sportsmanlike and as a type of strategy for defense. Defense is based on when the 49ers, a great offensive team that year, and of course with the lost it to the Ravens without by only 3 points, as we lost in overtime last year by only 3 points. Go party, give some charity. If you make a million, make a million. And owners of the NFL, National Football League, NHL, National Hockey League, NBA, National Basketball Association, MLB, give some charity. Finance the Dragon Army, finance the DGA, finance the Dancing Goddess Army. So anyways, back to what I was saying. It is a Super Bowl, which of course we're no, it's called Hardball Ball, aka Blackout, Hardball, aka Blackout, Hardball Ball, the Super Bowl. It's called Hardball Ball, aka the Blackout, and of course my 49ers lost, and I see the 49ers as, of course 49ers as kind of a United embodiment of United States, because 49ers, we have five Super Bowls, and before that the Ravens only had one. So we kind of see Ravens as Canada and my 49ers as the US, who have been established, right? Who've been established. 49ers dynasty of the 80s, Joe Montana, and all those after Rice, and who played in the 80s and won three Super Bowls from 1984 to 1990. There were three Super Bowls from 1984 to 1990, 1980 to 1990. There was three Super Bowls from 1980 to 1990. They won three Super Bowls and then won the fourth one in the 90s. And with young. So anyways, it's still young, and then we kind of see the embodiment of my 49ers getting defeated, but it's kind of a complimentary and a sportsmanlike. So the embodiment of the Baltimore Ravens as Canada, and the embodiment of the San Francisco as the United States. We got to work together now, and we got to unite in a public-private partnership, North American Democratic Republic, for the 21st century, collective, coast to coast. Create the UE like they did in the European Union. They created it back in the 90s. We can do it here. If they did it with the euro, we can create it. I believe we can create the universal exchange in it. It can be even transatlantic, NORAD NATO, universal U dot exchange, and that's why I'm calling on my Scorpio brother Bill Gates, Scorpio brother Joe Biden is a Scorpio president. Big kisses, big salute. I was there in a past life, served both times in the United States Armed Forces, Force 70, 76, Mr. Generals, I never say out when I speak. I was born post 1776, served both times in the United States Army, Mr. General, I never say out when I speak. Served both times when I was born as a woman once as well, but both times when I was born as a man, I served post 1776 in the United States Armies in two different wars, and today I never say out when I speak. Although I'm an Aspie, I got tiny hands, tiny feet, and a tiny little scar, tiny little clit, rainbow rocket. Sometimes it's sometimes functional, sometimes. Anyway, but I get those Dragon Rainbow protocols, and we cannot base everything on force. We cannot base everything on strength. That's why I also have North American citizen and security integration protocols for the 21st century of the North American Police Services, integrated citizen, North American citizen integrated security and service for the 21st century North American policing protocols. I also have an essay which kind of I've entitled written a few years ago, North American citizen integrated security and service protocols for the initiative of the North American policing in the 21st century, because we cannot in the 21st century with all the energies and all a lot of more mental illness and distress and suffering than before, especially during this past years. We have to have a little bit of love and understanding, love and understanding to be counterbalancing the energies and the strength. We cannot base all our actions on strength and violence and force. It has to be love and understanding and playfulness and freedom and art and culture. Gotta give a shout out because I've experienced over the many years now free art and cultures. I got free tickets, a lot to go to visit and to see a lot of different art and culture, different art and culture, different art and culture. So that's what I like to do. That's what I like to do, and I like to write rock and roll songs. But anyways, so the hardball ball, and also I gotta mention because it was also known the blackout ball, the blackout because there was like a blackout, and of course my 49ers lost, and uh, a lot of my protocols for North America are embodied in that game, where of course kind of embody San Francisco, a dynasty, established dynasty as embodiment of the U.S., and an emergent one, the Ravens, which defeated by 3 points only, my 49ers as Canada, because we got, Canadians, we can be great, and we are not without fault, but we can get it coast to coast, coast to coast, ocean to ocean with our North American brothers and sisters. North Americans Unite is the rock and roll song. So kind of that's what it is, the embodiment for the 21st century public-private partnership, my dream, the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, the San Francisco 49ers who got defeated by the Ravens, kind of seen the Ravens being Canada and the San Francisco the US. And it's got to be said that the blackout ball, also known as the hardball ball, was the first time that two brothers, so the big brother United States, small brother Canada, if you will, big brother United States, small brother Canada, big brother United States, small brother Canada, kind of to join together North American and unite north south, south northeast west, south northeast west, south northeast west, Canada, North Americans unite for the 21st century North American Democratic Republic. And of course to get that hardball ball, which of course was a great ball, and many of my protocols, including to keep it sportsmanlike, and of course are based on that event, which of course took place a few years ago. So today, carpe diem and every day, gonna return to the dream interpretation. So back to the dream, it comes sometimes from the irrational world, and we are not totally aware of the meaning, and sometimes it seems a bit irrational and all over the place. And what did I just dream? Can I actually dream that? But then you analyze it, and it takes the priestess of the goddess, help support build the forgotten goddess temple. I want to build something. If I do want to build something, I want to build the forgotten goddess temple, goddess GODDSS, because there's a lot of different churches and temples, and my version of rock and roll, I have a rock and roll version of Jesus. I have a rock and roll. I'm a non-sectarian Telemite. I'm a non-sectarian. My Pope is the sun. My Pope is the sun. My Pope is the sun. I sing to that moon also. Sing to the moon. A civilization, and for North Americans, for fitness. But I can be very secular. I can be very secular, very secular. And I say I don't know it all. I don't claim to have all the answers. I have more questions perhaps than answers. The pyramid still remains. The pyramid still remains. The pyramid still remains. Sun and shining. Anyway, so back to those protocols. Of course, is that of course in the 21st century we have to unite now where the geopolitics is converging. And back to the dream analysis, of course, is that I was analyzing myself in the discussion, because it's a lot of some people, I don't know if a lot, some more than others, have that nostalgia or believe that socialism, communism is the better system even in today's world. Some people still have those beliefs. My public-private partnership system, when I say support the dream, the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom and the dancing goddess, is a democratic republic of North America, a public-private partnership, a North American democratic republic, a North American partnership. And because my brother, Justin Trudeau, my brother, sometimes I'm 50-50, 70-30, but my brothers here, coast to coast Canadians, got that Canada tattooed, Canada. So you got Canada tattooed, but my brothers and sisters is the 40 million here us, and we make reconciliation with my native brothers and sisters. If that's what I got to offer, hugs and kisses first, some rock and roll thereafter to all who live here, North Americans with us, and we work towards reconciliation of our differences in that manner with our black brothers and sisters, to have equality and to work towards not, to if we have racism, it's possible we have. I mean, we're so diverse. We made the great linguistic compromise of the French language, Gotta be bilingual like Celine Dion. But my brother Justin Trudeau, the king is absent, my brothers and sisters Canadians. The king is absent. My brothers and sisters, coast to coast, the king is absent. We say, the head of state is still officially king, but the king is absent, brothers and sisters. It's Rainbow Dragon who goes on the field, who's been for many, many years in the trenches, salutes the public workers, who goes to the mountain, who thinks about the farmers, butchers, bakers, and for many, many years thinking about defense protocols, coast to coast in case of a nuclear, thermonuclear war, who thinks about defensive protocols, case of a nuclear thermal war, thinks about defense coast to coast case of a nuclear thermal war. And I always said to somebody, because I mean, direct, I mean, if I am to put a uniform on XYZ, it's only to defend my brothers and sisters, Quebecers, Canadians here, coast to coast, coast to coast, coast to coast. If I have to put on a uniform for the defense, gonna play defense. And defense that time won the hard ball, aka blackout ball. Defense won the hard ball, blackout ball by 3 points only. Defense won the hard ball, aka the blackout ball, by 3 points. Ah, something in my eyes. By 3 points only. So we need to reconcile with US, Canada, Canada, US. You know? That's what we need to do. That's what we need to do. And that's what we're going to keep on doing. That's what we're going to keep on doing. North Americans, my brothers and sisters here, of course, in Quebec. We keep on going. We keep on going. It's nothing that I want to go back to. I'm living for today with tomorrow. But you see, some unresolved conflicts of geopolitics, and I know my geopolitics. The Taiwan, known as the Republic of China, ROC, is the island of Taiwan. It goes toward their unresolved conflict for more than 70 years. They've not been able to resolve, and it's possible because they did that drill last weekend, the People's Republic of China. It's possible that there's an invasion, right? Forget, no matter what I say and think and about socialism, communism, at the end of the day, Xi Jinping's and his People's Liberation Army, Xi Jinping's army, and People's Liberation Army, and of course, they're gonna do for China, for the People's Republic of China, the Communist Party of China. They're gonna build in what they call the socialism with Chinese characteristics, and they're building their what they call, from our understanding as a North American myself, the words translated, maybe I don't fully understand, grasp 100%, but in Xi Jinping's governance of China, and if you want to enter the realm of politics and geopolitics, I'm asking you about the governance of China, and if you say you don't know about them or you never read or listened to an audiobook, then we cannot really have a proper, fully conversation about in the direction where the things are we're gonna discuss about, because you have to have a little bit of an understanding about that, the governance of China, the governance of China, the governance of China, right? Where we are now in this point in time to understand Xi Jinping's China, and he's been leading China for 12 years now. For 12 years now, 12 years. His governance of China, that's the direction where they're headed, to build what they call socialist, spiritual socialist civilization, building a spiritual socialist civilization, building a spiritual socialist civilization. Now, from my translation, my spirituality, which is rock and roll, and consent and hygiene, and push-ups and hugs and sun salutations and moon howling and kisses of the moon and sun push-ups and sun dances and civilization and North American sports, fitness, gridiron, dancing and BDSM switch, BDSM switch and BDSM. You know, that's my spirituality, a bit carnal, if you will, a bit carnal, you know, but I love things of the flesh as well, you know, and I do not deny it or do not deny. So my understanding when I say spirituality as a wannabe Telemite, I on my grave I just want a little pyramid and just write 93, 93 on it. Just write 93. Here lies a wannabe. Here lies a wannabe. For my father Crowley. Buried a little bit of me with Father Crowley in Hampton, New Jersey, Hampton. He's in New Jersey, Ashes in New Jersey. Father Crowley in Ashes in New Jersey. A little bit of me there, send there, a little bit to the pyramids, a little bit to the pyramids near Cairo, the past lives. And here today, 1st of June, rock and roll for the farmers, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctor, grocery store clerks. Back to the dream. Not my dancing goddess and dragon kingdom dream, but because that's my vision for North American collective, for the North American collective, as Xi Jinping has his vision for the future and present of China laid out in the governance of China. Anyways, we have geopolitical tensions, we have geopolitical escalation, and understand my work is that I predicted in a general manner what's happening now back even before 2019, but mainly in 2019. That's when I said that we're heading towards an international conflagration, and that's when I created my workout training program system. So here today I can say whatever I want, but as a North American, it doesn't, at this point in time, after surviving COVID and all that, it doesn't really matter if I take a pro ROC position, Republic of China, and a pro whatever. It doesn't really matter, because from any perspective, The first pro I am pro my anonymous friend. I am pro Canada. I'm pro North America. So I'm pro my anonymous friend, pro my allies and armies, pledge your allegiance, allegiance, pro North America, pro because really, as this all I know. Really, I know Montreal Island and North America and my dreams and my surviving and moving and getting healthy and here I am today. The rest, like, I got that blackout myself. Like I said, I got scars and issues, but it's today that matters. It's like carpe diem made every day and with consent. Hug like you never hugged before. Today with consent. Don't start hugging people in the streets and let my children dance in the streets with their hands towards the sun. With the moon kisses on the light. My children dance. North Americans in my children dance in the streets. Shake those hips. Let my children dance in the streets. Shake those hips. Safe with safety. Gotta watch left and right before you cross the streets. Gotta watch left and right before you cross the streets. Cars watch left and right. And that's mainly the main message. And workout, train, exercise, channel the aggression with sports, push-ups, and hugs. And if you're a millionaire, I'm 10,500 in debt. Share billionaire, finance citizens, and support the North American Democratic Republic, aka the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom. The Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom. The Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom, which is right here, right now in North America, is all we got. Is coast to coast, coast to coast. Build more satellites interconnected with satellites defense, and build coast to coast on each coast missiles, domes. What I call the Skyhawk, North American Skyhawk project, North American Sky Initiative project, North American Skyhawk. Hawk, HAWK, coast to coast, to be able to intercept the missiles parallel to what I call Operation Northern Scorpio, because we got Scorpios, Mexico, Canada, US, Mexico, Canada, US. There's a scorpion that's found in Mexico, Canada, US. It's called the Northern Scorpio because we are North Americans, and my Mexican brothers and sisters, we gotta work together. We gotta work together. North Americans, Mexicans. Mexico is part of North America. Mexico is part of North America. And I have been for years calling for the expansion of NORAD, for including Mexico, to expand NORAD to include Mexico. NORAD is Canada, US, but it need to be expanded on Mexico as well. And we gotta find resolutions, and we gotta get that coast to coast, and protect from nuclear missiles. Protect from nuclear missiles the North American civilizational complex. For us, we're more than half a billion, eh? And all who come to join us, to live with us from all over, come to join us and live with us, become a North American family, a free, and freedom gotta be secure. Anyway, so back to my dream. That was kind of an analysis that I was discussing, conversing with citizens and people of different ages who had kind of a nostalgia about the Soviet Union, this communism, socialism, as it was applied and implemented in Europe. In Eastern Europe, with the Warsaw Pact, Warsaw Pact, the Pact of Warsaw. And I'm calling for us to make a new Pact of North America, the North American Pact, the North American Democratic Republic Alliance. Go public workers, go. The North American public pact for North American, for defense, and of course regeneration and rehabilitation and mass reconstruction of our bridges and public infrastructure, highways, bridges, public infrastructure, highway, bridges, and build more interconnected highways. With my DRT theory, we're gonna be able to do it. The debt refusion theory for the creation of the wow. I just saw a nice yellow, yellow, yellow. What a beauty. We need more machines like that to clean the streets. What a beautiful yellow. I love yellow. Just passed, like, so beautiful machine, and it clean the private areas, and it got a lot bit of water. So I gotta sing some rock and roll for my citizen in the public works, cleaning up those roads, picking up the garbage, picking up the compost, picking up the garbage, picking up the recycling. Salute. Gotta send LOV, gotta give them some LOV on the ground now. It's hot, so somebody send them some love. Do a dancing for public workers. Do some cheerleading for the public workers. Do some cheerleading for the farmers. Do some cheerleading for the butchers. Do some cheerleading for the bakers. Do some rock and roll for the public works. Public works, salute, salute. Thank you for picking up the garbage, the compost every day. So it takes a public and a private partnership. That's the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom. It's fundamentally, my centrism is a public-private partnership for the 21st century. So I salute from the farmers, bakers, because it takes the private and the public. It takes both, just like the individual and the collective. So, anyways, back to the dream interpretation. I believe it was something which I've discussed in the past years with several individuals, and now it kind of manifested from the irrational, from the subconscious, or whatever case it may be. But there was the discussion about the communism, socialism, and the Soviet Union, and the USSR, and the Warsaw Pact, and of course how all the nation states of the Eastern European bloc, Bulgaria, Romania, Yugoslavia was back then Yugoslavia, now split into Serbia, Croatia, Macedonia, but of course there was also this Czechoslovakia, was now is the Czech Republic and the Slovak Republic. It split, and of course you had Poland, and you had Eastern Germany, the GDR, which was part of the Warsaw Pact, which was socialist. So that was a little bit. So one thing that I kind of said that I kind of understood, kind of this person said, and again it kind of was in English, but it kind of was a mixture of maybe Russian, Romanian, Bulgarian, Polish, German, kind of. There were several languages of the Eastern European countries which were confluenced in several Eastern Europeans that I had the discussion with, and kind of like they were nostalgic, and they said that communism socialist era was better from their perspective. That was kind of the interactions. And I spoke with some people from Russia in the past 7 years or so, and people from, of course, the Eastern European bloc who kind of had nostalgia about social communism. One thing that they said is that I think that kind of was a discussion that said that we here North Americans, we lack culture. Kind of was like we lack culture. Kind of like that was the. I said maybe we do not lack culture. Maybe they do not fully understand the North American culture, the Quebec culture, and the Canadian culture, which we have, but as it takes a little bit of immersion in it, and it takes a lot of rock and roll, and you like have a little bit of sports, and the sports we got the cheerleading in the sports, and I'm a cheerleader for the farmers, butchers, bakers, for North Americans first and foremost. I am that cheerleader for North America, for the butchers, for the farmers, for the bakers, for the nurses, for that NORAD NATO as well, NORAD NATO. And now we got a 30 second. Who's gonna be the 33rd Mexico, maybe 33rd Mexico, maybe 33rd. Let's go Mexico 33rd for NATO. Mexico 33rd, Mexico for NATO, because we got Canada, US, and North America for NATO, North Atlantic Organization. We got to get that 33rd. You got 32nd with Sweden, so 32 nation states, including many from the Eastern European bloc. And to understand Putin is that's resentment because, of course, Eastern European countries who were communist, socialist had joined, like Bulgaria, Romania were part of Soviet Union. Bless, and of course they joined NATO. So, anyways, so that was a little bit of confluence of the cultural perspective, or that our culture, they call a bit the word degenerate. Like it's not necessarily. It's just because some energies like being LGBTQ rainbow, are perceived in such a manner. Sometimes the psychosexual, and sometimes are perceived as degeneration. But if it's consent hygiene, then that's required. Consent hygiene. Like, me, I'm pansexual, but consent and hygiene, me with all my friends and allies, friends with benefits, is just ask. And Aspies, we like to offer things. We don't like to console that much. We don't really console. If you say I'm sore, I feel sorry for you, I'm gonna offer you want a massage, or if you're hungry, I'm gonna offer you want some food, or you say I'm this and that. I'm Some people think we lack empathy, but it's not that. It's that our compassion is showed more by action. Our compassion is showed more by action, like showed more by action. So, anyways, like myself as somebody who's openly pansexual, gay pansexual, androgynous for many years, openly gay pansexual for many years, openly gay pansexual. I like BDSM switch, mature audience topic. So in other words, I like BDSM stands for bondage, domination, submissive, and masochism in a pansexual manner, in an androgynous flip switch, split switch, androgynous. And I say, I like to be degraded, if you will, degraded, and XYZ, and whipped, and whatever, with consent, of course, with consent of BDSM's practice. But some might see that as being degenerate. It's not that. Is that they do not fully understand the energies and the forces within it, the forces and the energies which are contained in such an act, and which must be channeled and understand. And I say, that that's what I like. And sometimes, and if I get you get what you like. And I always say, once a week I'm a king and a queen of spades. Once a week I'm a king and a queen of spades. Once a week I'm a king and a queen of spades. Whatever that means, whatever, it's something which it is. And I don't mind to do, with consent and hygiene, anything that's with consent and hygiene. And in a rainbow wave. I can bring pleasure to any of my allies and armies and have fun. Fun is important, and sexual education and sexual healing, healing, and it's important. Sexual healing, consent and hygiene. Just ask policy. Just ask. That's it. That's all. You know, we gotta roll, and sexual liberation is an ongoing process. It's an understanding of our natures to be loved in such a way and in XYZ that we want. You know, and that whatever the case may be. So some people might see that as, might say degenerate or might say degrading. Well, there's energies in it. There's energies in it. There's energies in it. If I'm gay, androgynous, pansexual, but can I marry somebody and accept that maybe that person would want to, I don't know, cuckold, I could say, sure, I can make such a compromise. I can make such a compromise. I mean, whatever the case may be, I mean, we get 50-50, we discuss, we make compromises, and it's whatever, once a week, once a month, once a full moon, once a week, once a month, whatever the case may be. So it's always a negotiation, it's always a give and pro, and we cannot base everything on aggression and strength and force. We make compromises and we make compromises. So anyways, that it was my dream interpretation. It has to do with, of course, the discussions of the past and whatever case we're being with these individuals, which of course had a certain nostalgia towards a situation which perhaps they lived from experience, or they have experience or nostalgia or reading from books. But of course that was the interpretation. But of course it's also irrational, right? Because we have the irrational emotional side of us, which sometimes comes in subconscious ways, and we are moved in certain ways that we don't fully know why are we moved, why do we feel uncomfortable. And we have subconscious irrational forces and fears, irrational forces and fears in fire. I only respond to that 93, 93, 93. From the sun is shining, that's the B. Say hello with some loving lady, some push-ups with our hawks. 93, 93, all the way, all the way, all the way to the skylights. Love my telemites. Well, my Telemite nation, be blessed. 93 fold strength, force, and fire protection. Strength, force, and fire protection. Strength, force, and fire protection. May our enemies be made pestilence. May our enemies be made pestilence. Our enemies be made pestilence. Struck from the sunlight, satellites, boom, boom, boom. Love, LOV, Rock&Roll, Rainbow Dragon. 93 off for the Crowley. Gotta get that full, you see. Avenge the 11-fold, you see. Avenge the 11-fold, you see. Avenge the 11-fold, may I be love and love. Just ask, refuse, none is the policy. Refuse, none is our policy, our law. Refuse, none is our policy. Our law, build more satellites, sky high, coast to coast. North Americans unite, telemites. North Americans unite, telemites. Build me some more North American telemites, satellites. Let's build more sats, telemites from all the archangels of knowledge, power, understanding. Let's go. LOVE 93. That was a little bit of rock and roll because I saw 93. That's the only thing I see in the comments. It's LOV Rainbow Dragon 93. That's what I see. That's it. That's all. The only thing I see that first 93. Anyways, gonna switch now a little bit to that French because we're in La Belle Province a little quickly, and we're gonna get a little cup of coffee. So 93, workout, train, exercise, fellow Telemite nation, take care of your bodies, love, big hugs. 93, say blessings from Rainbow Dragon, wannabe Telemite here. I'm a wannabe Telemite. To be a Telemite, it takes a lot of work. Only the few. LOV. Gonna get another cup of coffee. I'm gonna switch to that Belle Province in France, and if you're a Telemite, imagine all the time that you see me big hugging, and encouraging you to work out, train, exercise, get fit, get loving. And if you're ever in Hawk Island, Montreal here, not in Wisconsin, because there's a Montreal in Wisconsin. My brothers and sisters in the USA, there's a Montreal in Wisconsin. There is a Montreal in Wisconsin, about 1,500 kilometers from here. So get it on that flying hawk. Let's build more satellites in the sky. North American Hawk Project, North American Hawk, HAWK, Hawk Island, Montreal, 2.5 million people, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, on the island of the Hawk. Come and see LOV. We're gonna switch to that French because we in La Belle Province. Let me get it for that rock and roll as we go on the road. Gonna put a little bit of this, and we're gonna do the HAWK. That was a little bit of interjection, I'm a Telemite. I'm a wannabe Telemite, because Being a Telemite is a work in progress. So again, once again, français, ici on parle le français. On parle le français, on va changer le français. Premièrement, la gratitude. J'ai payé mon loyer, j'ai payé mon loyer, j'ai payé mon loyer. C'est le 1er juin, fait qu'on va devoir faire un paiement du loyer aujourd'hui pour la belle province, le Québec, Québécois, Québécoises, le monde, les frères et sœurs qui s'aiment libres pour la défense de côte à côte. Je salue les fermiers parce que c'est à cause. Et les travailleurs du Québec, de l'Hydro-Québec, Hydro-Québec qui ont bâti les centrales du passé depuis 1947 jusqu'à maintenant pour en bâtir d'autres centrales pour le collectif d'associations nord-américains. J'essaie d'être un télémite, un guide spirituel universel qui n'est pas parfait, loin de là. On va faire ensemble une interprétation de rêve avec du bon rock&roll bien comme il le faut. En arc-en-ciel, le bordel, foutez pas, c'est pas à Saint-Jean encore. Pour ceux qui viennent de passer sur la route, les 3 services que j'ai dans mon quartier pour les travailleurs publics qui ramassent les poubelles, qui ramassent le compostage, les poubelles et qui ramasse le recyclage. S'il vous plaît, si vous allez à la montagne, ma deuxième place pour ou que j'adore faire de la méditation, s'il vous plaît, s'il vous plaît, s'il vous plaît, SVP, ne pas polluer, ne pas laisser des canettes, quoi que ce soit sur la montagne, parce qu'on essaie de faire la préservation, puis il y a des éperviers, Hawk, c'est des éperviers qui volent dans les airs. Encore une fois, pour la comédie du rock'n'roll chez nous dans ma grotte à Aspie, j'ai l'Asperger's, fait que je répète 2-3 fois la même chose. Et oui, j'ai des comportements un peu bizarres, étranges, mais quand vous rentrez dans mon domaine, mon royaume qui est la géopolitique et puis la danse. La danse, c'est mon sport préféré. J'adore danser, puis la danse, la chorégraphie, j'en fais 24 sur 24 avec l'analyse en géopolitique 24 sur 24. Et je suis un télémite. J'essaye d'être un télémite dragon arc-en-ciel qui vous chante puis vous danse pour que vous allez les mains dans les airs pour la comédie puis les arts puis l'amour, l'amour, l'amour. Venez me voir si vous voulez des câlins, des bisous et des châteaux, j'en ai le plein. Sinon, mais je veux rien savoir. Ah oui, des pompes, l'agression fait des pompes, puis des câlins. Merci les travailleurs publics qui changent puis ramassent les actes, qui changent puis font les aqueducs puis les travailleurs de l'Hydro-Québec. À cause de l'Hydro-Québec et des travailleurs du passé, que je puisse me voir avec la lumière et puis je puisse faire cette vidéo de comédie puis d'art. De la comédie puis d'art, bien sûr, qui m'appelle. Oh! Ma tante m'appelle, attention. Oui, tante. Ah ben non. Non. Ben j'ai perdu toutes les amis que j'avais, mais 99% je les ai perdus, mais c'est parce que j'ai l'Asperger's, vous savez, je répète 2-3 fois la même chose. Mais je leur ai pas dit, tante. Ben merci, merci, c'est bien gentil. Ma tante a dit, ben, parce qu'ils me voient pas danser, ils me voient pas, ils m'entendent pas chanter, il faut que je chante plus parce que ma tante a dit que je chante mieux que Bas Dommage. Ben, je dis, ben, je sais pas si je chante mieux que Bas Dommage, mais quand même, le fuck, le fuck. On a-tu encore des fuck? Le changement climatique. Faut en faire des centrales de l'Hydro-Québec parce que ça pollue pas, puis c'est de l'eau. Et avec du soleil. Le pape que ça béni que s'y sort. Puis mon oncle dit que j'ai l'accent de la Gaspésie, mais j'étais là dans une autre vie, avec Louis C. en Artie. Et là, une fille du roi. Dans une autre vie, j'étais homme, femme, femme. Maintenant, vous avez le 50-50 androgène qui vous chante. S'il vous plaît, donnez-vous un câlin avec consentement, donnez-vous un câlin comme jamais avant. On va discuter l'interprétation des rêves. Mais il faut que je m'hydrate. Et puis, encore une fois, la gratitude pour le pain. Ça commence dans les fermes, la sécurité alimentaire. Merci les fermiers dans les champs de patates pour la production du blé, puis des patates, des carottes, puis du fromage, puis du lait, bien sûr, puis des œufs. Puis j'ai ce pain-là, merci beaucoup, puis je vais boire, je vais faire l'hydratation. Oh, il est pas chaud, mais il est bien comme il faut. Et en faisant la gratitude, je dois saluer les services de pompiers. Merci les pompiers, les boulangers, les électriciens, les charpentiers. Puis s'il vous plaît, SVP, aider à construire le temple de la déesse oubliée. Le temple de la déesse oubliée, c'est un bâtiment que je veux bâtir. Le temple de la déesse. D-E-S-S oubliée. La déesse qui danse avec son frère le soleil. Et bien sûr, pour construire aussi la maison du dragon. La maison du dragon, un écarlate rouge. Avec la maison du dragon en parallèle, le palais du peuple. Arc-en-ciel, le mouvement communautaire arc-en-ciel pour les Nord-Américains pour la défense de côte à côte. Le collectif de situation nord-américain. Vous savez que j'ai l'Asperger, ça fait que je répète deux, trois fois la même chose, puis j'ai des obsessions, mes intérêts obsessifs. C'est la géopolitique, le sport, le sport, le sport. Go Edmonton, ils vont emmener la coupe! Au Canada, j'espère bien qu'Edmonton, les Oilers, ils ont fait une grosse victoire hier. Grosse victoire pour les Oilers. J'aimerais mieux que ça soit la coupe qui vient au Canada. Et bien sûr, pour en discuter, les Canadiens n'ont pas fait les séries, fait que c'est un petit peu qu'ils sont en dépression. Ne serrez pas en dépression. Allez sur la montagne, puis allez voir les patins de Jean Béliveau. Les patins qui sont là pour son 5e but, je pense 500e but, qui se trouve sur la montagne, qui a compté les années 4 en 71, je pense qu'il avait compté les buts. Il avait compté un but, il avait compté un but. Il avait compté un but, le 500e but, puis ils ont mis du cuivre sur les patins, puis les patins sont là. Ils se trouvent sur la montagne, les patins, Jean Béliveau. C'est Jean Béliveau. Il faudrait que je fasse une vérification double, mais on se connaît des patins, des joueurs des Canadiens, puis une photo des 3 joueurs des Canadiens des années 70 quand ils gagnaient, parce qu'on a quand même 24 coupes. Personne ne peut nous enlever les couples. Ils sont là établis comme mon entraînement physique, puis comme tout le travail que j'ai fait, puis la poésie, puis le rock-and-roll que j'ai fait de la belle province pour les 17 régions de la Beauce, par le centre du Québec, par le nord, par le sud, de l'île de Montréal jusqu'aux îles de la Madeleine, par les Laurentides, puis les Appalaches. Oups! Ça dort, ça saute, et ça fasse les champs de patates. Ah, on a même des raisins, on en fait du vin, on a même du raisin, on en fait du vin. On a même du raisin, des raisins, on en fait le plein sac, fait de l'amour, québécois et québécoises, c'est la chanson par le tambour. Pas de temps à perdre, faites des pompes avec consentement, des câlins, des mains dans les airs, c'est pleine, on a des montagnes, ben chez nous, on a bien des forêts, des montagnes, puis des lacs, puis des dames, puis des hommes qui s'aiment, puis qui dansent, puis des travailleurs publics qui changent les aqueducs. Merci et bonjour, vous me parlez pas d'amour. Bon, je vous entends mal, je veux rien savoir. C'est bien du rock'n'roll dans ma grotte, 24 sur 24, québécois puis québécoises. Ah ouais, à la danse, faut-tu que je sacre en tabarnouche? Faut-tu que je sacre en tabaroupe? Faut-tu que je sacre en tabarouque, mais oui. Il faut bien le savoir. Il faut faire la conjugaison du verbe de la danse. Dansons, danser, danser. Faut-tu que je dise, s'il vous plaît, si je vous laisse pour les plaines, les aigles qui font le cercle, puis des serpents, mais il n'y en a pas beaucoup. Mais on a même de chez nous. Et les mains, ça claque des doigts comme ça, de la gauche puis de la droite. Pas besoin d'un sacrifice, pas besoin de l'eau bénite, juste une bière puis du vin en place. Pas besoin de l'eau bénite, juste du vin puis une bière en place. Caroline, ma tante, arrête pas de dire de tabac, j'entends mal, je suis pas sûr. Hey, du rock'n'roll. Je suis Asperger's, mais je suis artiste aussi. Puis quand je fais du rock'n'roll, je suis intense, mais quand je fais du rock'n'roll, je le chante bien comme il faut. Quand je fais de la danse, je le fais bien avec intensité et avec concentration. Mais puis de la géopolitique aussi, parce que c'est ça que j'ai fait depuis plusieurs années, puis tout ça. Puis oui, j'ai perdu 99% de mes amis, là, mais j'ai fait parce que encore c'est mal compris c'est quoi l'Asperger's, puis moi je comprends mes symptômes parce qu'il n'y a pas de médicaments, mais je veux dire quelque chose de clair et que vous savez, si vous voyez cette vidéo, que l'Asperger's c'est pas une maladie mentale, c'est une condition de neurodivergence, c'est une condition de neurodivergence. Ça fait qu'on a des obsessions, comme moi-même, c'est le sport. La danse, c'est mon sport préféré, avec l'analyse en géopolitique, avec du rock'n'roll, bien sûr, puis avec les études de civilisation, puis avec l'hygiène en public. Tu sais, des fois, les germes, microbes et bactéries, tu sais, le monde, il me voit un peu que je suis obsessif à me laver les mains avec des antigènes, là, antibactériens, puis ils me disent ce qui se passe. Ben, c'est parce que c'est une de ces obsessions avec les microbes et les bactéries, puis oui, je dois quand même faire du nettoyage chez nous, inquiétez-vous pas. Mais s'il vous plaît, si vous voyez cette vidéo, quelqu'un aidez-moi. Ah, je veux. Il y a plus que 44 bancs sur la montagne de Mont-Royal, ma deuxième maison que je vais depuis des années là-bas. Il y a des bancs qui sont fait plus que 44 ans, sont de même, puis ils sont gris, puis ils ont besoin de la peinture. J'aimerais ça les peinturer soit noir et blanc, ben, coupe en noir et blanc, en bleu, en blanc, bleu, blanc ensemble, avec du rouge, blanc aussi, du rouge, blanc, bleu. Triple couleur, ça serait bon. Puis en arc-en-ciel, avec des couleurs variées, là. Parce que, tu sais, des fois avec la bureaucratie, ben, ça prend beaucoup de temps. Puis c'est ah, mais moi, j'aime ça faire des choses. J'aime juste la permission puis la peinture, puis je suis prêt à faire du bénévolat. Donnez-moi la permission puis la peinture, puis j'aimerais ça faire du bénévolat, là. Ça me dérange pas de la faire pour du bénévolat, pour les générations futures. Puis hier, j'ai vu des jeunes, la jeunesse, qui sont venus voir, puis j'aurais aimé ça, que, tu sais, il y ait ces bancs-là en couleur, là, parce qu'ils étaient gris, ils sont gris, puis ils ont besoin d'amour, puis je vais leur donner, moi, l'amour avec la peinture, comme ça, s'ils vont là, les jeunes, puis les aînés de tous âges vont dire, hey, c'est des belles, c'est des belles, c'est des belles couleurs sur ces bancs-là, c'est des beaux bancs là, sur le Mont-Royal, puis c'est public, ça nous appartient, fait qu'on va faire, moi je vais mettre toute la peinture, je vais faire du bénévolat, il n'y a pas de problème, j'aime ça faire du bénévolat, là. Je te moi les outils, puis j'en mets de la peinture sur toutes les bancs, ça va en prendre un couple de jours, mais je suis capable de le faire, puis ça je vais le faire avec amour, puis je vais dire quand je vais passer là, puis je vais dire, vous voyez les bancs, mais ça c'est moi qui les ai peinturés, puis on merci ben, les producteurs de la peinture parce que il faut produire la peinture puis le savoir-faire. Il y a du savoir-faire qui va dans la production de la peinture bleue, peinture blanche, peinture noire parce qu'il faut que ça soit noir, blanc et rouge et bleu puis toutes les couleurs de l'arc-en-ciel. C'est sûr que les compagnies de peinture, s'ils font un don, mais ça on va les apprécier. Mais pour le public, là, puis moi je suis prêt à donner les bras pour le mettre la peinture, juste la couleur, parce que ça fait plus que 44 ans, je pense, peut-être même plus, qui sont de même depuis les années 70, je pense, qui n'ont pas eu de peinture, puis ils sont sur le Mont-Royal, puis j'en ai compté au moins 44 dans un coin, mais je suis capable de les faire tous ceux qui ont besoin, parce que je viens de voir la semaine passée, j'en ai vu une qui avait mis du bleu, là, fait que je vais souvent, c'est comme ma deuxième maison là-bas, là, fait que j'aimais ça le faire, comme ça, et quand il va y avoir des beaux bancs, là, ça a besoin du renouveau pour le collectif d'association nord-américaine, pour le Québec, pour la belle province, tu sais. Ça a besoin du renouveau, mais anyway, ça c'est un petit appel en direct maintenant, puis je vais faire l'interprétation des rêves. Les rêves, des fois, mais ça vient du subconscient, puis on a les parties émotives, les émotions, tu sais, des fois on sent mal, ou on a des choses comme ça qui sont pas vraiment, on sait pas vraiment pourquoi, c'est des forces du subconscient, ou des fois des flashs, des mémoires, tu sais, puis que ça vient, puis ça nous frappe, puis dans un rêve, puis ce rêve-là, c'était tout irrationnel, c'était comme j'avais des grosses discussions avec des gens qui étaient un peu nostalgiques du communisme et du socialisme, mais moi-même, je ne suis pas socialiste communiste, là, je suis un centriste, mais mon centrisme, c'est nord-américain, d'un point de vue nord-américain, parce que je dis toujours que je suis nord-américain, canadien, québécois, puis mes idées, puis mes philosophies, c'est premièrement pour ce que j'appelle le complexe de civilisation nord-américain, puis ici, au Québec, en Baie-Province, au Canada, on a fait ce que j'appelle le grand compromis, le grand compromis linguistique, le grand compromis linguistique. Le grand compromis linguistique, c'est pour le français qu'on continue à faire pour avoir de la paix en Amérique du Nord, puis des fois, on a des tensions, puis on donne, puis on recule, puis on avance, puis on y va à table, puis on fait des compromis, puis des fois on finance, puis moi, comment je pourrais le faire? C'est pas en faisant le film Bon Cop, Bad Cop 3 ou mes idées pour le cinéma, comme La Belle Province, le film principal de cœur pour moi-même, c'est produire un film qui s'appelle La Belle Province. Puis je l'ai mis en ligne, puis si vous le faites, faites-le. Ça en fait plaisir. Juste faites un don ou donnez-moi pour le dialogue ou appelez-moi pour savoir des chansons, puis pour jouer dans le film, là, pour faire la danse ou quoi que ce soit. Mais ça, c'est un film que je veux vraiment produire. Puis d'autres films aussi, bien sûr, que Bon Cop, Bad Cop 3, parce qu'il y a déjà les deux. Et parallèlement, je vais faire d'autres films, bien sûr, avec vis-à-vis, que j'appelle la tante. La tante, c'est comme c'est un film de cœur que ça vient de mes expériences que j'ai vécues avec l'Asperger's, puis je veux dédier à mon ami anonyme qui mérite d'être 7 fois le chiffre après 6, 7 fois plus riche que Céline, puis que j'aimerais donner 1 million, puis acheter une maison d'1 million, anonyme. Puis c'est un film qui va discuter d'intergénérationnel, une femme qui a vécu, c'est pour mettre en valeur l'égalité des femmes aussi, puis mettre en valeur aussi ceux qui sont neurodivergents, parce que moi, l'Asperger, c'est pas une maladie mentale, c'est une condition psychique de neurodivergence. Donc l'Asperger, c'est pas une maladie mentale, c'est une condition de neurodivergence psychique. So, L'Asperger, c'est pas une maladie mentale, c'est une condition de neurodivergence. C'est juste que je vois les choses différemment, puis des fois, tu sais, j'ai de la difficulté dans les interactions sociales, j'ai des symptômes comme m'approcher trop proche des gens, trop proche des gens, trop proche des gens, trop proche des gens en conversation, puis des fois j'ai des mouvements de corps, ou des fois, tu sais, quand je commence à discuter de mes intérêts obsessifs, parce qu'on a les Aspergers, on a des intérêts obsessifs. Fait que dans ces intérêts-là, j'arrête pas, je connais sur la géopolitique, c'est mon royaume, la géopolitique, c'est mon royaume. Vous rentrez dans la géopolitique, c'est mon royaume, puis même au point que j'étais capable de prévoir qu'est-ce qui se passe maintenant en géopolitique avec les conflits du monde qui se passent. J'ai prévu ça en 2019, puis même un peu avant ça, j'ai le travail, j'ai la preuve de ça, de tout ce travail que j'ai fait, bien sûr, durant ces dernières années, puis je suis maître de la géopolitique. Ça, c'est mon domaine, c'est mon royaume. Ça, vous rentrez dedans, vous êtes mieux de savoir un peu de la géopolitique, et puis savoir, bien sûr, sur les civilisations, les régions, puis un petit peu le développement historique dans le contexte des conflits qui sont pas encore résolus. Comme vous voyez en Russie, avec l'Ukraine, ils n'ont pas résolu leur conflit d'une manière pacifique. Ici, les Nord-Américains, avec nos frères et sœurs noirs, les 13,3, 13,40%, mes voisins sont noirs. On a essayé quand même, on a fait de l'avancement ces derniers, le 20e siècle, dans les dernières décennies puis années, pour faire ce grand compromis pour l'intégration, puis bien sûr en constituant on est devenu des Nord-Américains. Je dis toujours, je suis Nord-Américain, Canadien, Québécois, Québécois, Canadien, Nord-Américain. Puis oui, je peux l'être universel, puis citoyen du monde, mais fondamentalement, mes, mes initiatives, puis mes philosophies, c'est pour qu'est-ce que j'appelle le complexe de civilisation nord-américain. Donc, encore une fois, vis-à-vis moi en tant qu'Asperger, c'est ça en tant que je suis philosophe Asperger, mes philosophies, c'est pour l'Amérique du Nord, mes initiatives, c'est pour qu'est-ce que j'appelle le complexe de civilisation nord-américaine, dont en Amérique du Nord, dans ce complexe, on a fait des grands compromis, puis on continue à le faire, comme le français, pour ne pas avoir des conflits. On continue à travailler pour le français, mais mes chers Québécois et Québécoises, comme je vois, tu sais, sur la montagne, tu sais, c'est écrit à certaines places où on fait la zone de plantation pour la biodiversité, là. C'est juste en français, j'aimerais ça. Moi-même, je suis prêt à faire du bénévolat pour les planter, pour faire le travail de bénévolat. Ah oui, donc on met en anglais aussi, parce qu'on a des tourismes aussi, là, on est capable, tu sais, Québécois et Québécois, pour nos frères et sœurs des États-Unis qui vont venir, puis je serais prêt à faire du bénévolat à côté de celui-là que c'est écrit la zone de plantation en français, juste me faire puis me donner, je vais les mettre, moi, donnez-moi les outils, je vais les mettre en anglais puis en français. Je vais faire le travail du bénévolat avec vous parce que des fois, je fais la traduction pour nos citoyens, nos frères et sœurs, les cousins qu'on a à l'autre bord des États-Unis qui viennent puis qui se bâtissent, construisent ensemble plus de centrales de l'Hydro-Québec puis qu'on fasse la défense de côte à côte avec eux autres aux îles de la Madeleine pour la défense de l'Amérique du Nord, là, pour, au cas où il y a une guerre nucléaire, pour continuer la civilisation, le complexe de civilisation nord-américain, parce que vous savez que je suis un analyste théoricien en géopolitique, puis j'avais écrit plusieurs documents qui donnent des protocoles d'initiative dans un contexte de guerre mondiale, de la troisième guerre mondiale, que j'ai commencé plus que 6 ans, plus que 7 ans que je fais ce travail en géopolitique, puis j'ai plusieurs documents quelque part, je partis sur des clés USB, puis de tout ça que je discute en ligne, puis je dicte d'une manière orale maintenant en ce moment sur live streaming, en direct sur Facebook, puis je suis pas sans faute, je suis pas sans faute. Avec l'Asperger, ça a été difficile, j'ai perdu beaucoup d'amis, je me suis fait des emplois, j'en ai eu bien des emplois que j'ai aimés, mais les gens ne savent pas encore, mais on commence à démystifier ça un peu ces dernières années, puis on continue à le comprendre. Puis moi-même, ça fait juste à peu près 2 ans là, que je commence. J'ai accepté, puis j'ai 93% des symptômes. Puis oui, je peux discuter de mes intérêts obsessifs pendant des heures, puis des fois, je m'approche trop proche des gens, j'ai des mouvements un peu bizarres, comme je vais passer le café de la main droite à gauche, de la droite à gauche, puis je vais la boire comme ça, des petits rituels, puis j'ai une routine. Je me réveille, puis c'est les salutations solaires du soleil, c'est des étirements, puis c'est l'analyse en géopolitique, puis c'est le rock-and-roll, puis c'est aller à la montagne. Fait qu'on a ces routines-là. Puis anyways, mais comme dit l'Asperger, c'est pas une condition, c'est pas une maladie mentale, c'est une condition de neurodivergence. Fait que de retour au film que je veux produire, dédié à un ami anonyme, puis les profits qu'il y a avec, ça s'appelle Ma tante. Fait que c'est un film qui, qui discute l'évolution, puis l'égalité des femmes, puis aussi une femme qui a très du succès. Une femme avocate, une femme d'affaires, une femme qui est devenue très riche par son propre gré, par ses propres luttes pendant des décennies, puis son neveu, il n'a pas de famille. Pas de famille, son neveu, sa famille, whatever, pas de famille, puis elle vit avec son neveu, mais son neveu, il a une neurodivergence, puis elle a de la difficulté. Fait que, elle souffre pendant des années avec son neveu, jusqu'à quand son neveu est capable de faire des choses par lui-même, puis avoir des finances, tout ça. Puis c'est ces luttes-là qu'elle a vécues. Ça commence, je veux que ça commence des années 70, c'est appelé la Révolution tranquille. Puis ça va être des années 80, puis là, ça commence des années 90 avec son neveu que il vit de l'abus, il est abusé à cause de l'Asperger's, puis parce qu'il est différent, neurodivergent, puis il vit beaucoup d'abus, puis il y a ses luttes avec l'emploi, puis elle, c'est comme son avocate, genre, c'est son avocate, c'est comme son avocate, il faut qu'elle défende, puis je veux dédier ça, tu sais, je veux dédier ce film-là aux femmes, et aussi aux personnes qui sont neurodivergence, puis à ma communauté LGBTQ, puis, tu sais, je veux montrer une personne qui est quand même Asperger's, mais qui a des forces, qui est très bon dans certaines choses, comme les mathématiques, comme on va dire, parce que les Aspies, les obsessions qu'on a, ça peut être de la science, ça peut être de la mathématique. Moi-même, c'est de la géopolitique. Moi-même, c'est la géopolitique. Moi-même, c'est la géopolitique. Tu vois, on répète deux, trois fois la même chose. Des fois, quelqu'un, un symptôme de l'Asperger, c'est quelqu'un va dire quelque chose, on va répéter qu'est-ce qu'il dit. Fait que des fois, le monde pense qu'on se moque ou qu'on dit des choses, mais c'est pas ça. C'est parce que c'est les symptômes de l'Asperger. C'est les symptômes de l'Asperger. Puis ça s'appelle l'écolélia en latin. Fait que c'est juste comprendre c'est quoi, puis faire la gestion de mes symptômes parce qu'il n'y a pas d'intérêt. Mais anyways, puis ça montre cette femme-là dans on va dire dans la soixantaine, puis ça montre plusieurs décennies, puis jusqu'à quand est devenue riche par ses propres forces, puis elle a eu ses luttes un peu féministes, un peu ci, puis ça, puis elle est bisexuelle, elle-même elle fait partie de la communauté LGBTQ, elle est bisexuelle, puis sa sexualité est un peu aussi en mineur en tant que femme bisexuelle, puis des choses comme ça, puis mais riche, elle est devenue riche, et bisexuelle, puis elle a son neveu qui est neurodivergent, puis quand il est jeune, son neveu, il te fait abuser beaucoup, puis à l'école, il est bon parce qu'il est bon en mathématiques et en sciences, mais il se fait abuser, puis il se défend par exemple parce qu'il a quand même une force, il se défend, puis il se défend aussi, fait que ça montre l'évolution de son neveu, puis qu'est-ce qu'il souffre à cause de l'Asperger's, puis jusqu'à son évolution en tant qu'adulte, fait que c'est un film qui montre comme à peu près 44 ans, on va dire, 44 ans, on va dire 40, à peu près 50, des années 70 jusqu'à l'ère présente, là, peut-être jusqu'au à COVID en 2020, que moi-même je l'ai eu la COVID, puis j'ai cette idée de cinéma que ça va, je veux que ça s'appelle Ma Tante. Puis ma tante est bilingue, puis elle est bilingue, puis c'est comme bon cop, bad cop, puis c'est du français puis de l'anglais dans ce film-là, puis le scénario, puis le dialogue, puis la vision du film, mais je veux que ça soit une coproduction, mais ça j'en parle un moment donné d'autres plus là-dessus, là, mais ça met en vigueur l'évolution de. C'est une femme d'affaires, la tante, puis elle est plus vieille, mais. Puis le neveu, il faut qu'il apprenne, il faut qu'il comme fait une adoption, là. Une adoption du neveu, parce que le neveu, il n'y a plus de famille, puis la tante, tu sais, elle est comme, est comme une femme qui est une femme d'affaires, puis très intelligente, mais elle a eu ses propres luttes des années 70 à l'université, puis c'est l'évolution. Elle est aussi bisexuelle, elle est ou femme aux hommes. Elle se marie pas, elle n'a pas d'enfant. Elle n'a pas d'enfant, puis elle vit une vie d'affaires, mais quand même lesbienne, et tout femme, puis et, c'est une femme quand même qui est belle, qui a des avances des hommes puis des femmes, puis est bisexuelle, mais elle se marie pas, puis quand elle a comme, est plus âgée, son neveu adolescent, mais il a plus de famille, puis il est Asperger's, puis il faut il vit avec, fait que, il commence à vivre avec, mais elle a toujours vécu seule parce qu'elle est riche par ses propres forces, fait que là, il faut qu'elle prenne son neveu, puis il est adolescent au secondaire, fait que il y a toutes sortes de problèmes, puis des fois il était dépression, puis mais quand même l'argent ne lui manque pas, elle a fait de l'argent par ses propres forces, c'est une femme d'affaires, et bien sûr, c'est une femme qui est bisexuelle, elle a ses propres affaires, puis ces choses, ça montre la sexualité, l'Asperger's, puis l'autre ils comprennent pas, puis il faut qu'ils expliquent à l'Asperger's, puis tout ça, puis toutes ces choses-là. Puis l'Asperger's est adolescent aussi, puis il monte là, jusqu'à quand que la vie jusqu'à la vie d'adulte. L'adolescence, sa vie, puis la vie parallèle au jeune qui a l'Asperger's, puis sa vie à elle qui est née des années, on va dire, je sais pas, on va dire, elle est née en 1947, on va dire, elle est née en 1947, on va dire qu'elle est née en 1947, ça peut être décembre, le 25 décembre, on va dire comme ça, 1947, ou le 2 décembre, ça peut être en 1947, fait qu'elle est plus âgée, puis elle va à l'université, elle devient docteur à l'université, puis elle devient femme d'affaires dans les années 80, puis elle ne se marie pas, elle n'est pas mariée, elle n'a pas d'enfant, mais il faut que fasse l'adoption de cet enfant. Ben, c'est un adolescent, dans le fond, puis il a l'Asperger's, puis après les années 90, puis après ça, ça montre l'évolution de l'enfant jusqu'à l'âge adulte, puis elle a, elle a de l'argent, mais elle vit des troubles avec, puis c'est ça, ça montre ces deux vies parallèles, puis dans l'histoire vraiment du Québec aussi dedans un peu, puis l'humour, la comédie, mais un drame, dans le fond, un drame comédie, qui a une résolution quand même, qui a une résolution de l'amour, parce que c'est sa tante, puis ça, je veux le nom du film s'appelle Ma tante. Anyways, hier soir, j'ai eu un rêve, puis le rêve, c'était comme irrationnel, puis j'ai fait une analyse, parce qu'on a des choses irrationnelles, hein, fait que des fois des émotions, on a du racisme, peut-être moi-même en dedans de moi, tu sais. Il faut suivre qu'on travaille avec nos frères et sœurs noirs, tu sais, mes voisins sont noirs, puis les 13,3% de la population d'Amérique du Nord, ben, c'est nos frères et sœurs noirs. Puis si je puisse offrir à quelqu'un la même chose, ben, c'est des câlins, des bisous, puis on fait du sport ensemble, puis on kiffe ça du sportsmanship, puis la violence, l'agressivité, on fait des pompes, on fait des pompes, on fait des pompes, puis on l'admet des choses, puis on y travaille sur le racisme, sur la discrimination contre les Aspies, les Aspergers, puis on a du travail à faire aussi, puis des fois, moi, en étant que philosophe centriste, je suis centriste, je suis ni de la gauche ni de la gauche, mais mon centrisme, c'est basé sur mes initiatives puis mes philosophies pour le 21e siècle, pour ce partenariat public-privé qui se manifeste comme le rêve du dragon et de la déesse qui danse. Quand je dis ça, c'est pour le complexe de civilisation nord-américain, puis c'est fondamentalement un appel pour un partenariat public-privé. Puis comme je dis en bon québécois, là, quand je parle avec quelqu'un, puis je fais juste des amis avec bénéfice maintenant, juste me le dire. Fais-moi donc ta gueule un peu, fais-moi donc ta gueule un peu, fais-moi donc ta gueule un peu, Dragon Arc-en-Ciel, puis je suis capable de le faire, là, je suis pas, tu sais. Je me le demander, juste me le demander. Juste me le demander. Parce que c'est difficile pour ceux qui sont pas Asperger's, puis faire la gestion de mes symptômes, mais juste me le dire. Bon, t'es trop proche, je me recule. Je suis trop proche, je me recule. Je suis trop proche, je me recule. That's it, that's all rock and roll. Il y a bonnes choses comme ça, puis j'aime ça, tu sais, je suis gay androgyne pansexuel, mais je crois à la réincarnation aussi en tant que mystique. Des fois, j'étais né homme, femme, puis une de mes réincarnations que je veux baser un film dessus, c'est quand j'ai rencontré Louis Cyr. Louis Cyr, j'étais né dans une autre vie. J'ai rencontré Louis Cyr, j'ai fait du bras de fer, j'ai fait du bras de fer, du bras de fer. Puis pendant 7 ans, j'ai pas pu utiliser mon bras. Mais dans mes réincarnations, des fois j'étais né homme et femme. Puis sur l'île de Montréal, je suis né 3 fois. Après 1635, quand j'ai rencontré Jean de Mance, j'ai rencontré Louis C dans une vie antérieure. Puis oui, une fois j'étais fille du roi. J'étais fille du roi. Dans une autre vie, j'étais fille du roi. Puis ça, c'est une autre idée de cinéma que j'ai moi-même pour en faire la fille du roi. Mais le roi méchant québécois et québécoise, il est absent, le roi. Le roi il est absent. Le roi il est absent. Chez nous, chez moi, chez vous, au Canada, on fait le compromis du français, mais oui, oh, faut pas qu'il maudit, béni, des bisous pis des chatouilles, les montagnes, ah ouais, des coups de coude pour les foudres de la tonnerre. On produit de la bière, ça s'appelle la bénite, mais je crois en verre, c'est une maudite. Hey, pas besoin de me maudire, juste me demander câlin. Câlin des bisous, ça bouge, de la danse, travail public, change les aqueducs. Change les aqueducs, ça ramasse les poubelles, ah ouais, pour le nettoyage de côte, puis de la gauche, puis de la droite. Des fois, on tombe dans le centre. Les 17 régions, ça danse à Beauce. Beauce, c'est la belle, la tante. Souvenez le film, ma tante. Souvenez le film, ma tante, pour finir dans 3 minutes. Je vais finir avec la gratitude, gratitude. Je vais pouvoir payer mon loyer, je vais pouvoir m'en aller à la montagne. Et bien sûr, je vais dédier ce film-là, mais aux femmes, puis aux ceux qui ont la neurodivergence, puis les Asperger's, puis tu sais, aussi nos sœurs, nos sœurs, tu sais, puis faites la lutte pour la continuité et l'égalité des femmes, puis euh, continuer au 21e siècle, c'est important, tu sais, ces choses qu'on a fait tellement de travail, puis tellement de choses depuis des décennies, puis qu'on met en valeur aussi l'Hydro-Québec, puis ça prend les deux, ça prend la lune, puis le soleil, ça prend la lune, ça prend la civilisation, puis la nature, puis ça prend l'individu, puis le collectif. L'individu, puis le collectif, puis qu'on n'opprime pas ceux qui sont les plus démunis, puis les favorisés, puis c'est dans certaines plus conditions spéciales. Ça, j'avais écrit des protocoles, bien sûr, d'intégration en Amérique du Nord, d'intégration citoyenne pour le 21e siècle, pour la sécurité puis le service, parce que c'est vraiment ça que je suis en tant que nord-américain, un philosophe, artiste, athlète, puis un septième comédien qui veut produire puis construire le temple de la déesse avec la maison du dragon, puis avec le palais du peuple arc-en-ciel, puis la danse est mon sport préféré, puis bien sûr, je vous chante, quand je chante du rock-and-roll, je suis intense parce que j'adore le rock-and-roll, puis je pense que j'en chante un peu, pas aussi bien que pas de dommage, décalé. Des dommages en dommages, ça produit du fromage. Du fromage, hey, c'est table, lancez les pieds, rentrez pas les tables pour que ça coupe bien. Il faut que ça soit solide. Faut que ça soit solide. Solide, S-O-L-I-D. Pas besoin de conjuguer. Pas besoin de conjuguer l'amour et la danse dans le bécherel. Là, faut que ça danse. L'office, je l'appelle, puis je dis, hey, qu'est-ce qui se passe, l'office, je l'appelle, puis je dis, qu'est-ce qui se passe? J'ai perdu le numéro de Céline. Ah ouais, la production du film. Le film Ma Tante. Ma Tante. Ma Tante. Le film, attends, je veux produire ce film-là, puis avec La Belle Province, puis d'autres films, puis ça me fait du bien de voir vous donner des câlins, vous tenir par la main quand je vais à la montagne, puis je fais l'entraînement physique, puis pour la jeunesse, tu sais, puis pour faire ces résolutions avec nos frères et sœurs noirs qui vivent avec nous, qui sont nos frères et sœurs en Amérique du Nord, puis pour la paix mondiale de côte à côte, mais fondamentalement, tu sais, je suis un Nord-Américain qui vit sur l'île de Montréal, là, puis la montagne, c'est mon deuxième maison, puis je vous encourage à faire l'entraînement physique comme québécoise, puis la gratitude, c'est important. Go Hydro-Québec, go, c'est la chanson 24/24, mais puis que je suis mort de la COVID en 2020, déjà en février-mars, c'était comme la mort, la pestilence, puis la maladie pour moi-même, là, c'était comme... Là, puis, tu sais, je vais avec amnésie rétrograde, là, je m'en souviens avoir déménagé à peu près 7-8 ans déjà, plus que 8 ans, puis j'avais laissé une place où il y avait beaucoup de moisissures, je suis déménagé ici, puis je pense que si j'aurais resté là-bas où j'habitais avant, j'aurais été soit mort ou en prison, j'aurais resté là-bas encore une grotte, un sous-sol, à Côte-des-Neiges, il y avait beaucoup de moisissures aux alentours, puis dans le garage où je vivais, puis je pense que j'avais, d'après mes journaux, puis qu'est-ce que j'avais écrit dans mes journaux, puis c'est ça, mais parce que j'ai comme un blackout de la mémoire, là, c'est comme des flashs, mais je m'en souviens avoir déménagé, laissé cette place-là, il y avait beaucoup de moisissures, j'étais malade là-bas, puis je me souviens, j'ai quand même des cicatrices sur mon corps, puis je sais pas, tu sais, exactement juste ce que j'ai écrit dans les écritures, puis je m'en souviens avoir traversé le Canada de côte à côte, ça m'a fait sortir de la dépression, ça va faire 7 ans de cet événement-là en août. Août puis septembre, j'ai traversé le Canada de côte à côte. Je suis allé au Canada, en fait, j'ai traversé de côte à côte en 2017, en août puis en septembre. Puis cet événement-là, ça m'a fait sortir de la dépression. J'étais dépressif, puis suicidaire, puis j'ai dit tellement de choses à faire, puis à voir, puis à écrire mes chansons, puis à continuer mon travail en tant qu'analyste et théoricien en géopolitique, puis philosophe. Puis j'ai sorti de la dépression, puis j'ai dit, waouh, tellement de choses à voir, à faire, puis aller à Montréal, à Wisconsin, parce que vous savez, une ville qui s'appelle Montréal, à Wisconsin, aux États-Unis, il y a une ville en Germania, qui s'appelle Montréal. Puis je dis tellement de choses à faire, à voir juste au Québec. J'aimerais savoir les centrales de l'Hydro-Québec, à Bay James, là, puis chanter du rock-and-roll, puis faire de la danse pour ceux qui ont construit les centrales de l'Hydro-Québec, là. J'aimerais faire une grosse danse pour eux autres, puis du rock-and-roll. Puis tout ça, le voir de côte à côte. Je dis ma famille ici, de côte à côte, tellement de choses à faire au Canada. Puis tellement de choses à voir, bien sûr, que j'ai sorti de la dépression, j'ai continué à m'entraîner. Puis bien sûr, je dois dire à mon ami anonyme que tu vas avoir un partenaire pour l'entraînement physique qui m'a donné ses gants de boxe rouge avec laquelle je veux combattre peut-être à la Saint-Jean Donald Trump ou bien sûr Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury aussi qui s'est battu contre Tyson Fury. Je suis capable, puis je veux rentrer dans le ring, mais il faut qu'il vienne à Montréal. On va faire baptême pour la Saint-Jean. Baptême pour la Saint-Jean, puis peut-être avec ces gars-là, qui ont été donnés par la meilleure personne que je connais. Si je fais 1 million, je donne la moitié, puis Anonyme me mérite d'être plus riche que Céline. Je vous aime bien, Céline, la santé puis l'amour, mais je connais quelqu'un qui mérite d'être plus riche que Céline, puis je suis capable de chanter. J'avais composé une chanson qui s'appelle La Rédemption criminelle, puis avec Céline, que j'aimerais ça chanter, c'est comme un duo, là. Ça, le refrain, c'est comme ça, puis ça dit j'ai fait ma rédemption criminelle, maintenant je danse avec une policière, puis vice-versa. J'ai fait ma rédemption criminelle, maintenant je danse avec un policier. C'est vice-versa. C'est Céline qui chante, que j'aimerais ça qu'elle chante un verset de ce chorus, puis moi je chante l'autre. Et quand je dis c'est la rédemption criminelle de nos frères et sœurs, frères et sœurs, frères et sœurs, que si on perd la liberté, c'est nouveau la liberté, mais c'est quelque chose de très précieux et il faut la défendre puis faire de l'assurance, parce que il faut la comprendre puis que c'est quoi la liberté puis moi-même je suis pas capable tout seul de lever l'épée de la liberté, l'épée de la liberté dans un contexte nord-américain complexe de civilisation complexe avec des individus tellement différents comme moi-même avec étant arc-en-ciel puis avec l'amnésie rétrograde puis bien sûr l'amnésie puis en tant qu'être Asperger's aussi, là, c'est très difficile. C'est pas. C'est nouveau, là. La liberté, c'est nouveau. Ça prend du travail, puis de l'effort, puis l'agressivité, la violence, puis la maîtriser, faire la sublimation, puis la libération sexuelle, puis la compréhension technologique de la civilisation, puis tout ce qu'on a en tant que civilisation. La civilisation, c'est un privilège. Mais anyways, fait que c'est ça. Puis bien sûr, avec l'argent, mais je suis pas 100% altruiste, là. J'aime bien faire du bénévolat, mais même que j'ai la gratitude, c'est bien mieux ici, puis j'ai la gratitude où j'habite ici, parce que comme je dis, si j'aurais resté où j'habitais avant, peut-être j'aurais été mort en prison, puis j'aimerais ça chanter cette chanson-là avec Céline pour donner 50%, la moitié à mon ami anonyme, puis that's it, that's all. J'ai fait ma rédemption criminelle, maintenant je danse avec une policière. J'ai fait ma rédemption criminelle, maintenant je danse avec un policier. Fait que c'est policière, un policier, puis un homme-femme qui font faire leur rédemption, la rédemption, puis la deuxième chance, on a besoin de tout le monde, puis pour le collectif de l'Amérique du Nord, de côte à côte, de côte à côte. Québécois, Québécois, je vous encourage à faire l'entraînement physique. Salutations solaires, puis si vous voyez marcher à la montagne, puis des fois je fais des salutations solaires ou de la danse, c'est mon sport préféré. Juste savez que j'ai l'Asperger's, puis je porte souvent du rouge, puis c'est juste ça. Puis j'ai la gratitude, d'amour, beaucoup d'amour, puis Dragon contre Fury. Je vais porter des culottes arc-en-ciel puis ces gants rouges. Qui viennent en belle province? Je demande 11 millions. 11 millions, je vais donner 50%. Ma soeur, I'm gonna give 50%.